Cool.
also gonna get on with it straight away, man. So cool, man. Ditto, head of label services UK. Damn, man. Just tell me what's that role about? What do you do within that role?
Cool. So, to a lot of people who might know who Ditto is, we're like primarily a distribution company. So that's online music distribution. So anyone around the world can upload their music to Ditto Music, and we distribute it to all of the online stores. So your Spotify's, Apple Music, Shazam. These are over 50 stores. That's kind of like one side to Ditto Music. Then we have like a more hands-on, what we call label services side of the company. And so within that side, we've got over 20 offices all around the world, where we're working with artists hands-on. We manage their distribution for them, and we're also kind of plugging their music into the different editors at the stores to try and get their music on playlists and things like that. And then the wider like label services includes things like radio promotion, social media, kind of help creating assets, running ads. We've got a graphic designer there. We've got a publicist, stuff to do with like video management as well. So kind of the whole premise of that is, if you work with Ditto on the label services side, you can kind of like still keep control over what music you're putting out and how you're putting it out. So you keep control of like the creative side of things, but at the same time, you've got kind of the services of a label to tap into to kind of help do the most of your releases independently. So I oversee the UK team for that. So I'm overseeing the different kind of client managers. So the client managers are the people who'll be the day-to-day sort of communication with the artists or with the labels that we work with. And then I oversee how we kind of run campaigns within that space. So if we've got a new album campaign coming up for an artist, I'll kind of be overseeing making sure that it all goes smoothly, making sure that we're getting as much support for the artist as possible. And then, yeah, just kind of being a help communication wise and trying to grow the Ditto brand in a sort of wider space as well.
Damn, man, you kind of covered a lot of my questions I was going to ask, but there's so much to ask, so we're good anyway. So going back to, obviously you said that the kind of you're more overseeing it now, but before you was probably more hands-on in terms of like artist liaison between obviously Ditto and maybe artists or managers, because obviously not all artists have managers, but that was your role. Talking about that role there between being the go-to person between obviously Ditto and the managers, what kind of like label service? I know you oversee it now, but when you was in that role before, talk to me more about that. Explain about that role.
Cool. I still do a bit of it now as well, but I guess one of the main things to summarize it is just like communication. Your main skill in that role is just communication. So always kind of trying to be available 24/7 as much as you can for the artists and labels. So if they've got any questions about a release that's already come out, if they've got any questions to do with anything from something Spotify specific, for example, to something about their royalties not coming through like on time, or do you know what I mean? Anything like that, you're their main point of contact. It's some people often call it like an A&R role, but it's not really A&Ring because you're not necessarily getting involved in the creative process of the music creation or anything to do with kind of, I guess, more marketing things as well, like videos and stuff like that. You're more just like, once the artist is ready and they've got the artwork, they've got the audio and they want to get it out, then you're the person that kind of, you speak to the artist throughout the whole campaign and everything kind of filters through you. So you make sure you get the right assets off them. You're the person that make sure that it kind of gets uploaded into Ditto's system properly, so it gets distributed correctly and on time. And you're also overseeing making sure that you're working with the guys in the company who speak to the different stores. So speak to Spotify, speak to Apple on like an editorial level. So the editors at these stores are the people who curate the playlists, and come up with, I guess, wider sort of marketing events, ways that artists can get involved with those stores. So kind of I guess, a bit like what I'm doing now, but you're still kind of the main point of contact. That's the most easiest way of summarizing it, basically.
So in terms of playlisting, I know this is a question that's going to get absolutely fired later, so I'm going to
Yeah.
ask it now. In terms of playlisting, when artists I mean, everyone wants to get on playlists. Everyone knows that you get on playlists, it will generate obviously a lot more exposure, attention, streams, and so forth. I know how difficult it is, but speak about getting on playlists and it not being always 100%, even coming from you guys who obviously work close with these curators at these DSPs, obviously Spotify, Apple Music. So speak about like playlist pitching and the process.
Yeah, so massively important. I think one of the things that to give yourself the best chance of getting on playlists, the most important thing is making sure that you're pitching your music on time. So what that means is sort of a few weeks lead time. So by the time in which you've uploaded your release to your distributor, they will then deliver it to stores, but it will be like ready to go live. It won't go live yet. And once it's ready on the back end of some of these stores, then you're sort of able to pitch the song, especially on Spotify. So Spotify is obviously like the key store. And if you're an artist or a manager and you don't know about Spotify for artists as the app, then definitely read into that. So Spotify for artists is another app which is free, and it's for artists or managers or labels. And you can see the back end of how your streams are performing for your artist, all the releases that go through your artists or your labels, basically. But one of the really good, more recent things of the app probably came out about a year ago or just over a year, is that you as an independent artist, you can pitch your music to the editors at Spotify to try and get in playlists on the app. So it's totally free. You don't need to kind of pay for it or anything like that. And yeah, there's a process that you go through, but once you log into your Spotify for Artists app, you'll see that your release is scheduled to go live, and then you just click on the sort of scheduled release, how to pitch to this a playlist kind of thing, and follow the steps. And you'll have to fill out a bunch of kind of like information about what the track sounds like, influences, and then at the very end there's like a sort of pitch section where you have a sort of, I think it's 500 character limit, which isn't a lot, and you have to basically in that pitch summarize sort of you as an artist, the song, what do the Spotify editors basically want to hear. They don't necessarily want to hear how well the song's doing at radio necessarily. Like they're more interested in, have you been in Spotify playlists previously? What's your sort of streams to listeners ratio like? What playlists are you targeting with this release? Only put like 2 or 3. You don't need to put loads in.
Like overdo it, yeah.
And so just keep it really Spotify specific in that Spotify pitch. Quite frankly, Spotify only interested, I mean, they're not only interested, but they're mainly interested in Spotify data. So you want to keep it as Spotify specific as possible. And then the other stores are a bit trickier at the moment, I guess, as a completely independent artist with no connections in the industry to sort of pitch to getting on playlists on other stores. But there's definitely ways. Again, if you work with distributors like Ditto, we pitch to all of the key stores, and depending on the release, like if it's a more sort of Afrobeats release, for example, we also work with a lot of the local stores in Africa as well. And so if you're trying to do all of that as a completely independent artist, that can be a bit more difficult. But definitely make sure that you're making the most of the Spotify for Artists pitch.
Spotify for Artists, no, 100%. And in terms of the playlisting, I know that there's a lot of like individual playlists that have been created by people who you can obviously reach out to. It's about obviously doing your research as well. Like there's quite a few that I follow that are just, you can reach out to some of these people, and you know, with a good enough pitch, you can actually get your stuff onto their playlist as well. So that could be another option as well if, you know, this Spotify for Artists thing don't always go to plan, because people say, yeah, well, I pitched my music and it never got on, you know, no playlists and whatnot. But you've got to realize that thousands and thousands of submissions get submitted every week, so there's no guarantee that yours is even going to get on it anyway, but it's still good to use at the same time.
Yeah, I think just make it easy for them. Like, the Spotify editor is busy enough as it is. They're not gonna like want to go out of their way for you to be DMing them on Insta to like add your song to a playlist. Like, there's so many steps that they have to then go on to do, and 9 times out of 10, the playlist that you want to get in is probably already scheduled for the next update. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
I think you want to really make it as easy for them as possible, and the most official, easy way of doing that is through the Spotify for Artists pitch. But yeah, definitely, like with anything in the industry, like if you're trying to get support from a certain radio DJ or a certain blog, or do you know what I mean, anything, obviously if you have connection to that person who's in control of that directly, then that is a good way of getting to them as well, of course.
Yeah, no doubt. So what we'll open up the questions at the end as well, guy. I know I see you lot preferring a bit of questions there, but we're gonna open up them towards the end. So what would you say the overall benefit of distributing through Ditto? What would be the overall benefit of coming to you guys distribution wise?
Yeah, man. I think one of the key things that we're really good at is we keep it quite straightforward. A lot of first-time artists or labels, you might not have ever distributed your music before, and a lot of people always come back and say that we're quite straightforward. We keep it fairly simple. There's not loads of things to get distracted on, and we're also a UK-based company. I mean, we do have, like I said, over 20 teams around the world, which a lot of people don't know about Ditto. But and within that, we've got support team not just in the UK, but in the States and Australia and the Philippines, like all over. So we're 24-hour support line as well. But I think one of the most important things is, whatever distribution company you go with, try and make sure that they're invested in you as much as they can be, like realistically. Like, obviously other companies and Ditto as well, like we're not just distributing one artist a week. Do you know what I mean? There's lots of artists that go through the core distribution side. So making sure that you're doing everything correct, so there's no problems or anything like that, is really important. But like I said, we're a UK-based company. We've been doing it for 13 years. And that's just on the first side of Ditto, so on the straight distribution side. But if you was to say that question on the second side of Ditto, the more like label kind of side, I'd still say a lot of similar things. Like, we don't ask for sort of a month lead time on releases necessarily. If you need to get something out quickly that's buzzing online or whatever, we can turn it around quick and still make sure we're doing our best to kind of give you the attention that the release deserves. And then I guess trying to keep things as quick and easy for artists, especially independent artists, is the most important thing. Like, when it comes to paying, you invoice our head of finance and he pays you out usually within 24 hours.
Young money. I'm in the UK. Just touched down in the airport. Track suit, I'm an Air Force.
Don't know what happened, guys.
Them love me. All the wanna say my ugly. She go spot me design. Give me the vagina.
Only God knows what happened.
Mad thing.
I don't know what happened there. That's good
All
though,
good.
because Instagram always gives us an hour.
Right.
Instagram always gives us an hour, so maybe that maybe has reset it.
Okay. But yeah, at the same time as working with the roster, always looking for new exciting talent and things to bring into the Reservoir family, and that we feel we can add value to, and that also will add value to what we as a company represent and are trying to do. So yeah, that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Kind of the overview. So before we even go into who you're behind, how long have you been doing it? Like, how long have you been in this role specifically?
In this role, it's probably about 4 years. or maybe about 3 years. Yeah. I've been in publishing 7 years since I finished uni, but yeah, I've been doing A&R proper for about 3, 4 years now.
Okay, cool. And in terms of your roster,
Yeah,
in terms of your specific roster, who have you signed? Who have you
yeah,
signed?
yeah.
Who are you behind?
So not loads of my own specific signings, to be honest. I've signed young producer, Call Me the Kid, that I work closely with. He's from North London. Dope, versatile producer. He's done a lot of Hardy Caprio, Ash
Yeah, sick,
Nico,
man.
One Asen, and them kind of stuff. I worked with him a few years kind of before I got into this role, so very, very tight relationship of mine. Signed a rapper called Fecky from South London, who some people will be familiar with as well. You know, Fecky's just one of the realists, man, one of the realists in the game, and comes from the era of UK urban music, I'd say just before we got to the new school where it all started blowing up crazy. You know, one of those that was really grinding before UK rap was a proper mainstream thing here on radio and in the charts and stuff. So proper gets it. And then my other signings, Carla Marie Williams, big, who you obviously know very well, big songwriter and entrepreneur in the UK, written for likes of Beyonce, Naughty Boy, Britney, The Saturdays, you
Craig
know,
David,
all
Girls
you
Aloud.
know, the list goes on, you get me? So
The list goes
um
on.
yeah, so those three are my signings, some of my core relationships that I work with for Reservoir. But of course, I work across a lot of things, including Stylo, who you was playing to intro
Of
me.
course.
I don't know if you did that on purpose,
Well,
but
sometimes, you can't be playing it, you know what I'm saying? No, it's
yeah,
nice, good. Obviously, it's deliberate, but yeah, obviously look after
yeah,
Stylo as well. Just going back to Carla. Carla's a very good friend of mine. And
mm-hmm.
you might as well say she's like a mentor to myself as well. Like, she's been in
And
the
to
game a
me,
long time.
yeah,
She knows her stuff.
absolutely,
Been in the game 15 years. You know, she's
yeah,
written, as we said, for people like Beyonce, Naughty Boy, and so
mm-hmm.
forth. Has so many businesses, runs a company called Girls I Rate, which is sick. Check that out as well, guys.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just a legend in what she does, man. She's one of the
Proper,
best songwriters out here. Do you know what I'm saying? So,
proper,
but yeah, man, no, it's good. So in terms of, obviously, publishing goes along the field of publishers can obviously sign songwriters, they can sign artists, and they can sign producers as well. So there's
right,
more than maybe just the label side. I mean, labels do sometimes sign, obviously, producers as artists sometimes if they're of a
yeah,
certain level. So in
yeah,
terms
yeah,
of yourself, do you just look across the spectrum of those three sort of producer, songwriter, artist, or
I think for me personally, it started with, I think every A&R is going to be different in it. And I think one thing you're constantly thinking of professionally is, you know, what kind of A&R you trying to be, and what you, I think that's guided by what you're passionate about and where you feel like you can really add value. And I grew up producing and writing myself, mostly producing. My big brothers used to produce and write, and got me really, you know, immersed in music that way. So I feel like I gravitated towards producers first, initially. And as I learned more and more of the business and made more relationships and contacts, of course, songwriters came kind of naturally as well, because that was also very much my world. And yeah, I accrued contacts and, you know, relationships that could add value to artists that were on the roster too. But I think where you feel like you can most add value and what you're most passionate about creatively is where you're most drawn in terms of what kind of stuff you're looking for to sign, and producers for me certainly where it started out.
Because that was one of the questions in the last, also my last guest, in terms of the gaming stuff. So kind of still put out there in terms of what publishers do, because obviously the pitching for gaming and stuff like that falls under publishers more than.
Yeah, I saw that question come up still, so I'll address that in a sec. So it's a very broad range of things publishers do, and it really depends on the type of creative we're dealing with and what they need. So at a base level, aside from signing stuff, I spend a lot of time setting up sessions for my producers and songwriters, connecting them with artists, other producers and other songwriters. I'm liaising with managers and record labels the whole time. You're seeking out good projects for your people you're working with to be on, places to pitch songs to, finding out who's looking for what, and constantly going through the catalog, sending songs out to people, internationally as well. And then also we have a synchronization department, and their function is, of course, to deal with and get our songs onto any form of media that has moving visual images. So gaming, TV, film, and so to answer that person's question, I mean, the question was for Ditto, but yeah, we do actively pitch for films, TV, games, and all of those things as well. So yeah, I mean, our job is, one, to administer and collect the money that all of the songs we have the copyright for make, and two, to help those copyrights make more money. So either be it with artists or in films or whatnot. Yeah.
And obviously, in terms of like writers who obviously write songs, it's your job to then liaise with labels, maybe pitch the songwriter's song to labels for their artists.
100%. Yeah, exactly. Of course, everyone in the team should be pitching as well. We certainly spend a lot of energy pitching. Managers do as well, and a lot of writers, Carla Marie being a good example of that, have really strong industry relationships as well, and also do a lot of pitching of their own. But yeah, a good amount of my time is spent in meetings. Talk about the AirPods dropping out and that. Good amount of my time is spent in meetings with label A&Rs, a lot of good allies in different places, getting across what they're working on, what projects they're putting together, and trying to pitch my writers' songs in there so we can be a part of that.
And that's important. Right, cool.
Absolutely.
We can. One question here: What's the benefit of a UK-based act signing with a publisher based overseas, or if there is a benefit of that?
One obvious benefit may be that even if you're based in the UK, it may be that your music primary territory where it's getting a lot of activity and traction is elsewhere. And so if you're trying to connect dots, build relationships, and exploit the music in that territory, you need ideally to have people based there. So for example, a really basic example, we have writers here in the UK who write a lot of songs for US-based artists and for projects over there, or produce beats for, US hip-hop acts and whatnot. Of course, we have offices there, so it's different, but having people on the ground over there means they don't necessarily have to be there on the ground themselves as much as they would do. So that's one basic benefit. But really and truly, if at all possible, ideally you want your publisher to be on the ground where you are. I feel like that's where you get the best results. But of course, if you've got activity elsewhere, then you also want people on the ground there. So that's not a one rule fits all situation.
One-off thing. And UK drill producers are making waves in the Brooklyn scene at the moment. What are your thoughts on the global reach of UK production? That's a good question.
Yeah, I think the global reach of UK production is the possibilities are endless. We've seen it across other genres. The UK producers have the skills and creativity to really make a difference with international acts and big acts in other big music territories. And I think our UK urban producers are going to experience that same kind of success, but I think even more so for them, because a lot of the young producers here are creating and redefining sounds constantly, and we've seen sounds transformed a lot over the last 2-3 years in the UK on the urban front, and in drill as well. And you know, the America, for example, is standing up and recognizing that, and you know, they want a piece of it. So I think the opportunities are endless for UK producers, UK drill producers,
Mm-hmm.
and I think proper producers and writers and everyone in the creative space, you know, they're versatile. It's not only going to be drill that they export. You know, they'll collaborate with people and come up with new sounds and export all sorts of music that sticks with artists in different territories. So yeah, you know, how creative can they get also? It's not just about, yeah, we make Georgie one. It's how creative can you get,
Mm-hmm.
and what more value can you bring to artists elsewhere? But I think, yeah, the world is their oyster, if you would.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. Hope that answered the question. How does a producer get to work with a publisher?
Good question. I mean, there are a multitude of ways to come into contact with publishers. Of course, we are at all times looking at artists, whose songs we like, and finding out who produced the stuff. You know, we hear something we like, we want to know who made it. So one way is to be actively collaborating with people, you know, collaborating with artists and writers you've got in your network and trying to expand your network to get releases yourself, because you know, you need some kind of advert for yourself out there in the world for us to discover you by. Um, so that obviously helps. The other side of that is, if you've got music out there in the world, then your publishing is accruing value that's of interest to publishers as well. You know, we
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day want to make money, and valuable copyrights are more attractive and more beneficial to everyone. So trying to get releases and collaborate with more artists is certainly one way. We do get a lot of submissions and whatnot from people too. That's very hit and miss, but I've certainly, in my earlier days, worked with and still work with today, a lot of people who just submitted music. They came across my contact and submitted music, and you know, it's one of those leave no stone unturned thing. If you've got friends, if you've got friends who have a contact, you know, hit them up. If you've got people you can collaborate with them. If you've got events you can go to try and network, do that. You know, it's what what is the scope of your possibilities of getting in contact with a publisher? Do every single one of those things. There's no shortcut or simple equation to working with a publisher or label or any of those, you know, industry stakeholders. You gotta do all of the above, and hopefully one of them gets you the result you're going for.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Some useful information. Did you make a conscious decision to work in publishing over records? If so, why? And if not, how do you think it would differ on the record
Interesting.
side? It's a lot of points to that one.
Yeah.
That's from a lawyer, by the way. That's from a lawyer.
Oh, is
So
it? Which lawyer? Who asked
he,
that question? Let me see.
he knows what he's talking about.
Someone I know. Did I make a conscious decision? No, not really. When I finished university, in my head, I was still a producer and I was about to start my career in that world. But in needing to get a job as well, I thought, let me hammer out applications to music companies, and that'll help me educate myself on the business and accrue knowledge that would, you know, help me get a leg up. I applied to all sorts of companies. I knew publishing would be a great place for me to start because of the nature of who they work with, and being a producer was very relevant to me. But no, I didn't make a conscious decision to do that over records. I was just
Mm-hmm.
fortunate to land my internship at Reservoir, and you know, I never left, and also somehow phased from being a producer to being an A&R person. But
Mm-hmm.
it would be very, very different if I was in records. I won't speculate on how, because I haven't worked in records. But of course, it's a very, very different game, and you know, requires some different skills and you an approach. You know, the day-to-day tasks are different. What you're trying to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but I didn't make a conscious effort. No, it kind of just fell into place. But I have no regrets. I love publishing, and that's one of the reasons why I ended up being a publisher instead of a producer, is that I genuinely loved working closely with writers and producers, especially on this side of the business, and helping facilitate their careers. And it allowed me to empathize with the position they're in. And that motivated me, and allowed us to get good results. And I got the same kind of satisfaction from seeing them win that and seeing them create great music that I used to get when I was creating music myself, and I loved it. It ticked all of those boxes for me. So yeah, I never look back.
All right, man. Last one, which kind of ties in with my question. What does it take for an artist to get approached by your company, by a publisher?
It's kind of, I touched on it on a previous question where someone was asking how do you kind of get to work with a publisher. Again, there's all sorts of ways. First and foremost, if you have a valuable publishing catalog of songs and you're unpublished, then publishers will approach you. Simple as that. So even if you're unpublished, the objective is to be getting music out into the world, collaborating with artists. If it's artists, if you're, more into TV and film stuff, whatever it is, be getting music out into the world that's making money and accruing value, and people will want to work with you on that. On the flip side, putting money to one side, you just want to be creating dope, amazing stuff and working so that it can be in a place that we can see it. If we can't see your music, then we can't get in touch with you. So whether you're putting out your own project, an instrumental project on SoundCloud or Spotify, or whether you're collaborating with new artists at the grassroots level, just so people can hear your work and whatnot, and also just collaborating with as many different people within reason as possible, because word of mouth is probably the primary way I find out about new talent. So be collaborating with people and constantly trying to expand your network and work with quality writers and producers and artists. And yeah, I think that you got to focus on the craft and the art more than the thing of I want a publishing deal, because we're not looking for who's the best person at trying to get in touch with me. We're looking at who's really doing the thing and doing it well. And that's what I think is really attractive to publishers.
Yeah, all right, my man. Damn, man, overflowed us with information. Very last one, man, guys. So we've got to keep it moving. So be
Yeah.
What's the process of getting an independent producer or artist involved with a major cinematic or animation film?
Techie. I mean, of course, that's a question. That would be a question for my sync department, because it's not something that's involved in my day-to-day remit.
Yeah.
But yeah, a cinematic film release for an independent producer. No, I won't pretend like I super have the answers for that one, because I really don't. I know that that's a very difficult task, but I ain't got the answers, to be honest.
That's more for the sync, man. All right, Ben, man, thanks for your time, man.
Love, bro.
Sorry, guys, man, I can't get through all the questions, man. Otherwise, we'll be here forever, and we got times scheduled to stick to.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry,
I appreciate it.
Thanks for your time, man. Thanks for your time.
Man. Bless. Yeah, I mean, I'm open to answering questions. I hope all 72 people don't email me questions or DM me questions, but I am open to answering questions. So
there you go. The guys I never got around to hit him up within reason. Please, I beg. I know how it gets. Please, within reason.
Trust
hit
me.
him up if you've got any other further questions, man. But Ben, thanks again, man. Thanks for your time, bro.
Love, bro. We'll catch up in a bit.
All right. Appreciate it. See ya.
Peace.
Yeah, man. We move. See your DM's getting fired. Hey, take time, yo. Take time. I'm busting you, though. Take time.
Nostalgia. Tea house up north or near the coast with the boy, there's both. Spend this bread on jewels, we'll spend it on smoke, man, spend it on both. Can't up this money from or money from shows, man, can't up both. Passing the pattern business and a pattern up home, man, pattern them both. They jam me up for worse than smoke, tell Jimmy for both.
Hey, mate, you all right?
Sir, Can I call
Can
you
you
sir? Or
can
should I call
you
you
hear me?
sir? Yeah, I
Yeah,
can hear you. I can hear you.
cool.
Should I call you sir or?
Just call me, call me you, and I'm happy with that, right? First time I've ever done this, so I'm a bit of a virgin to this.
Yeah, I know. The big man, the legend. Hey, look at all the comments going mad. All the students, man. Ewan, what's going on? You're right.
What's going on at the moment? Just trying to adapt to life under lockdown and looking at what the new normal will be as we come out of this, which will be dramatically different. I mean, on the business side of things, it's we've tried to keep the academy as normal as possible throughout this. We've continued to release records through the label, so we haven't stopped our creative output at the label, and the only area that's really taken the hit is live music. So we can't do live music at the moment at the club, and it's extremely difficult to work out how we'll be able to do that in the future as well. So that's taken up a lot of my time over the last. I've just seen some of the comments. The hair is out of control, right? I know the hair is out of control, right? So
getting out of control, but it's understandable. It's
extremely understandable. Unless I can get somebody to come around and do it on the fly. No, I don't know how I'm going to do that. I did have a go at doing the sides myself, but I was scared in case I got it all wrong, So yeah, I mean, business wise, we are operating as normal as possible, and for the guys that don't know who I am, the three businesses that we've got are Notting Hill Arts Club, which is a live music venue, and Club Venue, which is the one that I'm struggling with at the moment as to how we reopen that in terms of social distancing and stuff like that. Relentless Records, which is obviously part of Sony Music, which has the likes of Frosty, Unknown, Heady One, Tom Walker, Alan Walker, Bryson Tiller. We've got a new track by Young Bay called Bad Boy coming out, and we've got a track by Robbie Docherty and Keys called Pour the Milk, which is currently across all the big dance playlists. And then I've got the Academy, which you're a student of, which
of course. So we're going to start with the Academy. What is Notting Hill Academy of Music? We're going to start with that.
So why did I start the Academy? Shabs and I found a real frustration at finding good executive people to come and join the label when we did our latest joint venture with Sony. And in one sort of mad night at Glastonbury, we decided, why don't we teach them? And why don't we start, looking for the executives that shape the business for the future when we're long retired, right? So the people that are going to this business and make the difference in the business, and that was really the first sort of initiative that we had. But when we went into it a bit more and we looked at what else was out there in education, and we found it really frustrating that certain areas, traditional university courses in music are so outdated. Let me explain that in a way that if you go to university for 3 years and you do performance, so let's say you go to play the drums, get a drum degree, which people offer. What realistically are you going to do with that when you come out? You might be able to play a wee bit more in time, or you're able to, form a band, but they don't teach you anything about the aesthetics of the industry and the business side of the industry. And, it's the same with production as well. You've got to know how to turn your hobby into business and a career. And so that's why we concentrate solely on how you monetize music in today's world and how you make, a living out of it. Obviously, in the current climate, with real difficulty with the live side of things, which is an extremely lucrative area if you get it right and you become successful. But so we decided that we'd start doing 9-month courses, and those 9-month courses is you kind of know with a student like yourself, you kind of judge within about 3 months whether this person is actually going to sink or swim. Right? You are most definitely swimming. So there you go. So
Appreciate it.
It's you know, it's a highly competitive industry. The more knowledge you have and the more tools you have and value you can add to yourself that will add value to a company is really important in a company looking at employing you. And you know, the whole employment part of our courses is something that we really concentrate on. You know, making you employment ready, making you be able to hit the ground running, right, when you leave. And university doesn't do that for you. University waits for the next bum on seat, right? Nobody leaves Notting Hill Academy of Music. Once you join, you're a family. You're part of the family. When you're alumni, you're still part of the family, because it's you guys that'll keep marketing the college for years to come.
Definitely.
You know, so it's and we found some great people. You know, I've been really impressed by the initiatives that the students have set up online, you know, during this time, and the things that they really encourage me and give me a real buzz out of this. I always say to the, and I really do mean this, seeing a student go on and be successful in the industry and change and shape the industry moving forward is probably more important to me than having a #1 record.
Which you've had many of, but we won't get into that, by the way. You know?
Yes.
No, it's good. It's good. No, I appreciate it. And that leads me on to the next sort of subject in terms of who's come out from the academy and gone on to do great things within the industry. It'd be good to let everybody know, because not everyone in here is actually students, so it'd be good to let everyone else know.
So one of my favourite alumni is a guy called Dan Owusu. Dan Owusu joined the first cohort that we took in at the academy, and the guy was so hungry to get into this industry. The music industry is not a secret society. It's not like, you know, sort of Willy Wonka and the chocolate factory. Here's your, you know, golden ticket and we'll let you in. This guy had done some artist management previous to coming on the course, but felt he was reaching a sort of glass ceiling in artist management and wanted to, you know, sort of see how he could take that to the next level. So, you know, as I say, the whole family thing that I talk about, you know, when you see real talent, you take it under your wing. And when Dan finished the course, he actually worked for me at the academy for about 6 months. And I remember the day that he came to me when he had 4 job offers from 4 different companies, 3 in 1 in publishing. And I said to him at the time, you'll learn more by going into publishing at this point than you will in records. Records is so cutthroat, whereas publishing's a bit more long tail. You know, it's you can make more mistakes in publishing, but in records, it's you're right on the front line. If you don't have a hit, you're out the door. So Dan took a job as head of UK Urban A&R at BMG, and he was there for 2 years. And during that 2 years, I actually tried to poach him to come to Relentless at one point, and he turned me down. So there you go. Thanks. But now he's in the Sony building alongside us at Relentless. He's just set up Dream Life Records with Lunic and I'm trying to remember the other guy's name.
Yeah, Shane.
Mostak, I think. Yeah. So he's got his dream. He's got a label. He's got a label that's going through. So he's in the building, and then we've got Glenn Sonko, who was Glenn was great. He was another one that just was desperate to, you know, sort of make a mark in his other love, which was music. His other love was football. He was a professional footballer. I think he played for Chelsea. He played for Besiktas, Turkey, and stuff like that, and went down the football route. Football is as hard as the music industry, and and again, I took Glenn under my wing a bit, and Glenn is now at Atlantic currently, but is about to leave Atlantic and go and join Twin B at Def Jam and at Universal. So, you know, he's got passion. He's got fire in his belly. You know, wanted to make a difference. And then the third one is Rob. Rob, I was as you get older, things happen to you. I had a problem with my knee and I had to go to a physiotherapist. I went round the corner from the academy and Rob was doing physio at the time. He, you know, again, we got on really well, talked to him about the academy. He came to the academy, he did the course, and he's now our head of A&R for UK Urban. He's the man responsible for signing Heady One, Frosty, and The Unknown, alongside Tia, who also works at the label. So there's your alumni from the academy. That, you know, off the cuff. It's exciting, and the current crop of students that we've got, I can see some real gems in there as well. So I'm really excited by it all.
No, that's good. That's good, man. And it shows that the academy's got the evidence as well. It's not just we're putting it together and nothing's come of it. You know, the successes speak for itself. But what I wanted to do was go back in time to some so solid days.
Or can we go back in time to the Beatles? I think my haircut.
No, not that far, because majority of us weren't born that far back. So, you know, maybe there's a few, but none of us were born back then. You know, if you're gonna start talking about 1970,
no,
we don't want to hear that. We don't want to hear about that.
I'll not do that.
You know, but back to more 21 seconds.
Well, I mean, you know, the label is 21 years old this year, right? So we're not a new entrant. We're quite an established label, and we've been through a variety of different, you know, sort of scenarios as a label. We initially started in 1999 as a joint venture with Ministry of Sound, right? Ministry at the time, I was general manager at Ministry, and my responsibility was to find A&Rs and repertoire outside of the internal Ministry system. And, you know, very much so within dance music, there's so many genres of dance music, you know, that we were doing internally, but there was trance music. So we managed to poach Nick Hawkes from Positiva at the time, Nick, who set up XL Recordings and then set up Positiva, came, and we set up Incentive Records with him. And he concentrated very much on the trance side of stuff. And then with Simon Dunmore, we covered the sort of more vocal house stuff on Defected. And then I'd always been a fan of, you know, underground music. And I've always been a massive supporter of the independents. And prior to going to Ministry, I was label manager for a label that put out records by Shut Up and Dance and the Raga Twins. Just some of the older people on there will remember. Back in the Brave, right?
Way back in the day.
Yeah, and that was the first time I'd really sort of, you know, bumped into Shabs, because he was doing press and plugging for that label at the time. And then when I was at Ministry, I'd always been a fan of jungle and drum and bass as well, you know, much more so than any other Scotsman who was probably into happy hardcore and Gabba at that time. And I absolutely hated that, right? I was much more into, you know, the whole sort of jungle drum and bass. And, you know, one of the big records that, you know, I think it was about late 97, one of the big records that changed the whole world really into garage was Shanks and Bigfoot, Sweet Like Chocolate, right? It's one of those records that stood out as an absolute fucking belter, right? And so garage was definitely coming through with artists like MJ Cole and stuff like that. And Chavs was around, and he discovered this record by Artful Dodger featuring Craig. And
legendary.
We did a deal with Relentless, and Relentless became a joint venture with Ministry. And we went on to sign the likes of Daniel Bedingfield and Christine Blonde, B15 Project. And then the day came when I was asked, would we fund a £250,000 video for a gang of kids from Barnsley? And it's probably one of my most proudest moments of working in UK music. Putting out So Solid Crew 21 Seconds opened the doors for so many other types of music to break through, not only, you know, break out of the underground, but start charting and also getting on the radio. So it was a massive time, you know, that opened the doors for everybody that followed through those doors, from like Wiley to Gigs to Tiny Temper to, you know, all this, you know, the stuff that we have now, to Stormy and Dave's, right? And you know, I feel that was that was a game-changing moment in UK black music in the UK, right? Because it meant that we could do it. It meant that we could also, we had our own sound, and we've got to remember that culturally the UK is so important in the history of music. You know, when you look back on the artists that, you know, from the Beatles, the Stones, to the Pistols, the Clash, Oasis and Blur, Stormzy and Dave, Adele, Ed Sheeran, the list goes on and on and on. You know, you don't get those artists from France, Spain or Italy. They come from the UK, right? The UK is an important cultural phenomena when it is when music's concerned and creativity is concerned. And you know, I definitely think that that was probably one of my proudest moments in working with Relentless. And then you know, quick fire up to today. I said this on a previous call. The Heady One project that I just absolutely love. That's as near as you'll get to punk rock in 20. Rock was so important to me. You know that.
Of course, of course.
And being able to do. I mean, if you look behind me, you'll see the "God Save the Queen," Jamie Reid, and on my wall. You know. So, but if you know, the Heady One project is culturally relevant. It's got something to say, and it's pushing boundaries musically. And they're the things you'd look for in a label for an artist to do, right? The fact that we got Jamie XX and FKA Twigs and Sampha on the Gang project is unbelievable. And I've got to thank Rob for that, because Rob was the A&R on it, came from the Academy, pushing the boundaries, right? And, you know, chart-wise, you know, I wasn't really that bothered about where it was going to end up chart-wise. I wanted to lift the profile of the artist, and it has certainly done that. Internationally, Heady One is now, you know, being playlisted on certain radio stations in America, Australia, New Zealand, you know, Germany. He would never have got those doors opened with if he'd stuck with just down the drill road. And, you know, yeah, still going to release drill records. I released one last week called Rose Gold, which is a great record, right? And he's got a few others up his sleeve over the next few months, which are some exciting projects for Heady One, which I can't tell you about, but watch this space. So, yeah, if you were to say the two most, you know, sort of the two projects that I'm extremely proud of are those two, Heady One and So Solid Crew.
Because the Heady One thing was what I was going to bring up anyway. Cause I know a lot of people are saying, you know, why did they go down that route? There's obviously pros and cons to it. Maybe they didn't do really as well in the charts in the UK, and maybe we just wasn't used to that sort of sound. But internationally, as you said, getting on playlists outside of the UK, awareness in different countries, and that obviously wouldn't have happened if another drill project.
What a record company's jobs to do is to push the artist and to push the artist into new areas without damaging their creativity. And you know, if Heady didn't want to do it, he wouldn't have done it, but he did. You know, saw it as a way of him pushing him into, you know, the limelight in a way that you know, the Gang project could be up for a Mercury this year, right? It's that when you get that critique from your peers in the music industry and you get talked about in the right channels, that serves to help build a career for an artist, rather than just we're throwing out one single, seeing how it does, and then we'll move on to the next one. This is a project that we have invested time and money in, and you've got to take risks when you invest money, you know, and it's a lot of money that's been invested in it. So,
so overall, would you say that risk that the label took was good, or would you say it's bad?
Watch this space. I say it's the best risk we have ever taken.
It's a big statement there.
I can't tell you who it is that's involved, but let's just say somebody has reached out and wants to do the next Heady One single. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, you had it here first, guys. Exclusive.
But
Exclusive.
I'm not.
So what's that?
I'm not telling you who it is, so don't.
Too many eyes watching. Too many eyes.
It's the type of thing. If we were still in the real, back in the old world, you might have got out of me if you took me for a pint. But no, you're not getting it out of me tonight.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good. Everyone wants to know that the comments are going mad, and everyone wants to know, but can't be revealed. Can't be revealed. But cool. So in terms of that, in terms of the academy,
I'll tell you who it is. It's with Boris Johnson. I'm joking. I wouldn't have him anywhere near any of my records, or anywhere near any of my students, or anywhere near any of my artists. Guy's a clown.
I hear you, man. So in terms of obviously the academy, what's the best advice you can give for young people who want to get into A&R, want to get into marketing, want to get into anything across that field? What's the best advice you can give?
Do it. As I said earlier on, just do it. Start doing something which, lists what you've been listening to or what you've been on early, and then that gives you something to bring in. Don't just sit there and expect suddenly one day you're going to wake up and you'll be an A&R. I always say everybody's A&R. Everybody's A&R. A&R, once you're in a label, has a different meaning because you're building the project and you're building a team around the project, producers, collaborators and stuff like that. But, very rarely do I ever go to a gig and I don't rip the gig apart, because that's what you do. You that could be better, that could be better. How could we do that better? And you could, everybody can do it. And it's also, there's some key factors that you need to know about. How do you talk to creative people is a really key skill because you don't want to dishearten somebody. So there's a way you've got to talk to those people that you can't just turn around and go, that's a bit shit. There's a way you can say that's a bit shit without saying that's a bit shit, right? So how to communicate with people is really important, and learning the right way of communicating with people in a business perspective is really important as well. But utilizing and researching music as well. I mean, my background. I used to have record shops, right? The best day of the week for me is Thursday night at midnight when New Music Friday comes out. I'm so excited by new music. I want to know what's coming out. I want to know what sounds are coming out. I want to know why, Arlo Parks is #1 on New Music Friday, when nobody seems that interested in her. How did she get that to that point, And I'm questioning and I'm quizzing all those things. And that's the kind of students that we look for, is those type of people that are constantly questioning what's going on around them, because they're the people that will make a difference when they come out, because they'll have a value to add to a potential employer. And that's what we want to try to do, is give you that value that you can take into an interview scenario and go, well, this is what I've been doing to better myself. What have you ever thought of doing that? Or, look at the company you're going to. You ever thought of doing it that way? Because I don't know everything, right? I'm still learning every day. I learn more off you guys than I do, sitting in a label meeting, because I've done that for 30 years, right? And, I love seeing new initiatives, and I love seeing, the students utilising new platforms and understanding, how the consumption of music is changing, and it's changed dramatically over the last the last 20 years. Go back to So Solid Crew. It was CD singles and vinyl. Well, where are we now? If I released a CD single or a vinyl single now, people would just laugh at me. So
times have changed.
Yeah, it's been aware of culture as well, and being aware of what's around you culturally and what's relevant, is a big part of what we teach. And, understanding A&R is the culture is so important of what's going on. There's so many great records, great artists, great producers out there that have been bypassed because of culture, because they were either too early when they released product or they were too late. So timing's really important when you launch projects as well, in making sure that it's culturally relevant at that given time.
Yeah, and that's vitally important. Look, even the students answering questions in the comments, man, big up. So yeah, so just
Hey,
to end,
they all love me, you know. Nobody else does. The students do. I'll have that.
the students do. The comments are there. The students.
I'll take that. I'll take that all the time.
Yeah, all the time. So just to end, and this is going to answer the question that's just come through. What's the situation with the academy? When is the new course starting? Explain a bit days, evenings, what courses we do.
We have a new intake for September, which we're currently interviewing. We're nearly full for the September intake, which is why we're going to start another intake in February of next year. But there are still limited spaces for the September intake. But Ian did a great job in recruitment, and we're nearly there. It's 2 intake months, September 2020 and February 2021. It's a level 4 course that lasts for 9 months. There's student loan funding available for both, and the courses have different titles. We have A&R and songwriting, music business entrepreneur, and A&R and music management. Right, they are slightly different. Check out the website and look at the ones that you think would be applicable to you. What I will say to you is, please be doing something to better yourself in the industry. We want the best and we want to deliver the best, but if you don't start doing something for yourself, it's hard for us to enhance that. If you're coming there and your tongue's hanging out and you're going, I want to learn about the music industry, there's plenty of other courses out there.
Yeah.
All
right then, man. Thanks for your time.
No problem. I'm going to go and see if Everton can beat somebody online at FIFA. Thanks very much.
Yeah. Thanks for your time, you man.
See you later. Bye.
Yeah, man. How about pitching songs to you? Nah, man. He's not the guy. He's the guy at the top. Ain't no pitching no songs to him. Definitely not. Right, cool, man. Keeping it going. Right, cool, man. Guys, my booking agent guest has got an emergency call, so I'm gonna try and get him on in like an hour's time, hopefully. But we're gonna move along. Whoa.
My old fat cold that they hold it back, you can roll that. I feel to call you when I see you in my contacts, or we see you on my Facebook. You never used to ready. I want to make plus 4 when I go through the door. Man, I love it when you hear me.
Hey. Hey. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks.
How you doing? Firstly, thanks for coming on so late notice.
No probs.
Big up Ree, if Ree's still in here, who made
I know she knows she in the comments somewhere. If you're there,
yes,
Ree, hey.
she said she was cooking, you know what I'm saying? So hopefully she's still in there, man. Big up Ree for reaching out to you last minute to join, because one of my other guests couldn't make it.
Well, I know how it goes.
So
fine, no problems.
You know how it goes. So yeah, which is good. You come at a good time. So product manager for Dream Life Rex, which we've just been speaking about, which is obviously a new label, which is run by Shane, who's Mostac's manager, Unique, who used to be an A&R manager from Virgin, signing acts like Hardy Caprio, Mostac, Ross, and so forth, and obviously Dan, who you've just heard about. Yeah. So obviously the label's pretty new at the moment, but you've now slipped into that role. So how's that? What is the role of a product manager?
So basically, product manager is a marketing manager of sorts. So it's just basically figuring out what you need to do in your campaign, if that means advertising, what we can do for playlisting, speaking to management about what they're looking for, and just kind of like putting the pieces together. That's like the basic way of describing the job. It changes, I think, depending on the artist. For me, obviously, with this role being so fresh, we actually started it since the lockdown started, so it's been a bit of a weird one. But yeah, we only have one artist at the moment, so Eric Ivy, and he's
Sick
like,
artist.
yeah, so he's doing really well. For the people tuned in who are not aware of him, he's like I'd say R&B with a slight hip hop-ish twist, and he's doing really well. Like the views are over just under 300,000 on GRM right now, so yeah, it's a good release. It's a good start to the campaign, and yeah, it's been exciting. It's been weird because obviously I'm kind of just working like on my own, like as in physically, and I check in with the rest of the team. We check in at least twice a week. So for someone just said Dream Life, yeah, that's the name, Dream Life Records. So yeah, it's been good. It's been fun, but like this is just one piece of a long journey that I've been on. So yeah.
So let's go back in journey. Like, where did you start? Did you study? Let's go back.
Initially, I started in music about, it's probably making me sound old, but like 10 years ago. I went to uni, I went to Goldsmiths, and I actually did media, and I thought I was going to be a music journalist. That was always like my thing in my head. But then I started to intern at like music events. So like I interned at a live show that was proper popping at the time, called a Sunday Show. And I
that one in Leicester Square.
Yeah. This is like way back, but
way back.
Yeah, proper way back. And they had broke a lot of people. Like they had Ed Sheeran, Gets, like you name it, they came through and performed every week. So when I went there, I just learned on the job, and I was like, you know what, I think this like event side and working with artists hands-on is really my thing. And I've always wanted to work in music, but I didn't really know how to go about it. So I was doing that, plus I like made a music blog on the side, and that started doing well for itself. I started getting invited to events, like the BBC got in touch. It was crazy, and it really made it feel like it was a real life job, and I was like, this is possible. So I kept pushing through, graduated, was working normal 9 to 5 until I figured it out, and then eventually I started working for a company called I Love Live. And they're still around to this day. It's a live music event as well, kind of similar to when Sunday Show was going off. They will do loads of big events, and I was the event assistant. Then I ended up being the event manager, and then I ended up being the brand manager eventually. And that was about over the course of like 3.5 years. And I did that for a long time, but then the company was tiny. I knew I needed to change, and I wanted to push myself. So last year, I decided to quit my full-time job, take a risk, go freelance, and end up doing a master's at the University of Westminster in music business management. And that taught me like a lot about this, like the legal side of the music industry. Like basically, we covered all the topics, but in a very like technical way that was half academic, half practical, which I really liked.
That's good.
And it challenged me. Yeah, it was very challenging for the mind. And the only downside I would say is the financial side, because you got to pay for that. But I would say anyone that wants to challenge themselves and wants to do something like that, I would definitely recommend it. And during that course, I freelanced working, funny enough, with Lunic, where I was freelancing with doing social media management for Delapo. And whoever, people that don't know her, she's an R&B artist from the UK. And then I also was doing assistant management stuff with a lady called Nikki, who's managing Shaka. So I just kept busy, and I was just blessed because like jobs were just coming at me, and like one job would end and another job would come. And then I went to graduate. I was kind of worried because I was like, I've got to get back into full-time work. Ended up getting a job as digital marketing manager at Moves Recordings, which is a small indie label that focuses on urban music, particularly Afro beats. And we worked with the likes of like Skengdo and AM, Naira Marley, some new rappers from like Ireland. It was a lot of international stuff, and it taught me a lot about the international music scene, not the UK. And then funny enough, I kind of kept in touch with Shane, who was a friend of mine, who also is a part of Dream Life. I also know Dan, who you guys were discussing earlier, for years. Like, we met, funny enough, at NHAMusic Academy when we had a meeting there once at Isle of Live. And I remember it was actually I can't remember the man's name, the man that was on before, you guys, teaches you guys.
Oh, Ewan, Ewan.
Yeah, Ewan. He was in the meeting and he introduced me to Dan. And he said, you guys are like young, you guys doing stuff in the music industry, you guys keep in touch. And my boss was there and they were like, yeah, you guys have a conversation. And then we end up like just exchanging numbers, and we've just been cool ever since. So it was kind of weird. Like, I worked with Blue Nick at one point, knew Shane, knew Dan, and then it just like all came together. And then they came to me and said, would I be interested in being a product manager at Dream Life? And I was like, oh my gosh, yes. Like, you know, like, you don't get these opportunities every day. And I hadn't been at Moose for very long, so it was a bit scary because you're like, oh my gosh, I've only been in this job like a few months, just got my feet under the table. But you just can't turn down something so special. So yeah, that's how I ended up here.
No, but it's good. It's good, and I wanted you to really go back in time to show people the journey and the grind that you've been on as well, because all of our journeys are different, and some people may be in one job for 4 years and then a dream job comes. Yourself, you've been bouncing around from this to that, risks as well, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
Leaving full-time job, to, you know, you're fortunate to still be able to be in work each time. Maybe one role finished, you was able to get another role. So it's good to hear that side of it, of you didn't just fall into this role. You've been grinding for a very long time.
For sure.
And obviously went to study as well at the same time. So in terms of being obviously product manager, artists that come through the label, you're going to be in charge of what exactly in terms of the market. I'm going to cut off in 2 minutes, but I'll let you know.
Cool. So basically, when the guys sign the records, they'll come to me with the record. So this is kind of like just explain the process of Eric. Because obviously it's so new. So they signed Eric actually before I was actually officially in Dream Life, as I was still at Moves. So they just kept me in touch with what their plans were. They signed the record. I got the record through over email, and then they just told me, get your ideas that you can think of for the record, anything that comes to mind. So straight away I just started to like research him as an artist, trying to see what he'd done so far, kind of seeing what he had already achieved, and then basically what we can achieve other than that. So when we first started officially with Sony, we got introduced to many a team, because one thing with majors, which I had to learn, and I'm still learning even till now, is that there's like a department here for this and a department here for that. So it's how you can tap into those places in the right way. So for example, there's a team that will deal with digital advertising. So you have to communicate with them what we can advertise, how we can get the record to the right audience, especially as a new artist, people that are similar to Eric, get into people like that. Then you have to go to like playlist people. They will be pitching the record. What playlist should Eric be on? What are the targets we need to be hitting for there? And then it's stuff like music videos. This time around, I haven't been involved because they did the video just before I joined. But hopefully, once we're actually free and everyone's safe again, we can actually get out there. I'll be doing music videos again. So like helping liaise with that, putting it together, making sure management and artists are happy with that stuff as well.
Okay, so, it's gonna cut off now.
Okay.
Where you left off. It's gonna cut off. Gonna come.
Right, I'll keep that for.
Yeah, keep that. Gonna come.
Ain't no order, gonna send me no spot. And I got 18K gold Rolex, put it in a case, that's a president box. Used to rock big crest to last long, now wear tight was to fit on my drop. Man chase money, the bees like honey, the man them sweet, so they get these on us. Say you don't know me, should've done CRB, make these girls do the C2C. That's trained on the man, them, I don't understand them, niggas get got for getting at me. There ain't no forgetting me, she said you must remember me. You was at Squeezies, when you text me, let me squeeze. Before I went global with Kojo, we was in the brand trying to get my back. For a man, one whack. Now we told the world, don't local land. I don't like bougie girls at all, but the brain is mine when they get around back. And I bring all my dreams to the streets. I ain't my man, but I don't get taxed. You've been missing lately, when you gonna bring it back? I need some love, I need a hug, girl, you are at my gangster, ain't at my fly. Getting mad, getting mad, getting mad. You've been missing lately, when you gonna
Yes. We're back. Yeah, someone comment music business live Q&A. Let me pin that. Yeah, sorry. We've really
No.
interrupted Instagram there. Go ahead.
Yeah, so as I was saying, yeah, we were talking about putting the pieces together. So yeah, so it's just a matter of kind of basically looking at the campaign as a whole and then seeing where improvements can be made and what achievements we're making and how we can push those achievements. That's how I always visualize it. Oh, I just saw Dan's here. Hey Dan.
Yeah, man, big up Dan, man. My guy, man, big up.
My boss man. One of my three boss men.
Big boss in the building.
So yeah, that's kind of like the main gist of it, and then like checking in with everyone that's involved as well, because obviously I have ideas, but I'm a person where I like to ask as well, where do you think I can improve, and where do you think there can be improvements in the campaign, because they could bring an idea to the table that I just might have just not considered. So yeah, like for example, when we catch up twice a week, us as a team, and I will discuss the campaign, we go through what we've done so far, be that playlists, we look at the streaming figures, seeing how things are going, and just kind of making calls from there, really. Oh, Dan, look at Dan, he's just gassing me up. But yeah, that's kind of the main gist of it, I would say.
So you're kind of like the go-to person that needs to liaise with everyone else, really, within the building, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Obviously the people that pitch the DSPs, obviously the marketing team and all that stuff there. So everyone kind of just got to meet in the middle. So much different departments that you need to do to get a record out, let's be honest.
Yeah, there's so many moving parts, so you have to just make sure like everyone that needs to know like what they need to be doing. You're kind of like, a lot of the time they're especially where you're in this major, these people, they know what they're doing, but you have to just kind of keep on top of it, because people are really well informed in what they do, but you got to remember they have so many campaigns, so you have to make sure your campaign's getting priority and what they need to do needs to be done as well. So that in itself is also a challenge, because you have to sometimes ask questions many a time before they get results, not because they don't know what they're doing, but just because there's so many moving parts of all different releases across different imprints and stuff like that. So it's just making sure that you're making sure your product is at the front and it's getting the attention it needs.
So, because to me myself, I didn't all fully know what product managers do, but it seems like you guys are at the top of the tree, kind of, one can say. So, in terms of that, so your next sort of people above you is obviously just them three at the top.
Yeah, and then obviously the other major people in Sony and stuff, but actually day to day and who I'm talking to and who I want to make sure is happy and going and everything's going well is with Dan, Shane, and Lunik, for sure.
So what advice would you give to people that want to be in a similar role to yourself, or just even in marketing?
I would say like it's a lot of trial and error. So, always try new ideas. But if things go wrong, don't be disheartened, because obviously I've tried ideas before that just haven't worked. And I think even if they don't work, if you tell the artists and the managers and everyone involved your passion and why you made those decisions, they should understand like, okay, why it's gone wrong, and they know that you did it with the best intent. So I'd say try that, like the trial and error as well across your career. So I tried so many jobs. I've been in all different jobs, and I haven't technically been in marketing all the time. I've done the events thing. I did, blogging when I was first starting out, and I just took all those experiences and learned from them, and just tried to you take away what you've done well, but you also take away what you've done wrong, same way. So yeah, a lot of it is with music is resilience, and I've always been like quite a shy person, but it's taught me to come out of my shell and push against the odds, because there's many people that would like to be in your position, and you want to be there, so you have to try your best to stay there and just work as hard as possible, literally
hard work and keep going. So would you say that the bouncing around different roles, obviously the live, the staff, the blogging and all that stuff there, would you say that helped you get where you are today?
Yeah.
I mean, that's helpful.
Like it has pros and cons. Like I'd say the pros was definitely, it taught me loads. It taught me like all the different sides of the music industry, where I can bring those experiences into this role now. So for example, doing digital marketing, I was always working very hands-on with like people like digital designers, editors and stuff. So if I ask for asset, so like ask for a picture or video to be made for social media for an artist, I know kind of roughly what that takes and roughly how long that would take, so I can, you know, have realistic expectations from those people making it, and to also pass that message on to the other people involved, and appreciate those people's times, because, you know, editors can't just go like that and bam, a video appears. You have to, you know, give them time and make sure quality is always in the forefront. So, you know, it's those kind of things that have helped me understand how things work. For example, like if I go to a live show, I understand how it works from the back end because I've run live shows. So I know what it takes for like tour managers to do a lot of work. I know what it takes like for the right sound equipment, asking for the same, those sort of things too. So, you know, I can help people, like, even if I don't know the in-depth knowledge about that area, I kind of have a gist of how it goes, and then kind of know the right questions to ask, and then if anything, ask more questions to learn further for the, like, you know, for later on down the line. I'd say the downside though was that kind of like I had to, like, I was building myself up, and then when I moved I had to grow like that again, build up again, and move in that area and build up
So you're
again.
you're gaining knowledge, but you're kind of starting at the bottom in terms of level.
Yeah.
Not bottom, but you're not, you wasn't as high as you probably was in your previous role, but
Yeah.
it's turned out to have worked. Cool, man.
Yeah.
We'll open it up to a couple of questions. Where would you focus your marketing efforts when breaking a new artist on a limited budget? Good question.
So I would say sometimes it's not even the money that you use straight away. Make sure your social media is all up to date. Make sure you have all the same picture. For example, simple things like have the same picture on all the profiles if you can. Sometimes artists can move around with those things. There's no set rule, but I would say kind of keep consistency across all the socials at first. Make sure everything looks uniform so people can find you easily. Then once you do that consistent content, so even if that's like you recording yourself at home doing a freestyle or singing a song, or if you're a producer showing like a little snippet of a new beat or something like that, and then if you feel like you've got those things down, then maybe take as little as like, well, I say little because it depends on your circumstances, but like you can use that £50, and if you saved £50 or you have £50 already, and put that on like Snapchat advertising, Instagram advertising, but those things are a bit technical as well, so you've got to know how to use it, because you can put an ad out, but it doesn't necessarily mean that ad's going to get to the right people. That in itself is a skill, like knowing to get to those kind of things. But I know people at the moment who have been speaking to me about like how they want to kind of get into that field, and like help artists advertise and stuff. So I'm kind of been talking to people as well to see if I can help them, and if you can actually give advice like long term to up and coming artists that are not aware of how that system works. So if anything, research, just Google things, read things. Like knowledge is key in life, you know, in music, in life as a whole. So see like what's online. There could be places that will teach you like how to run a Snapchat ad, you know what I mean? And you can kind of see how many people click it. You can even narrow it down to type of people. So for example, if you know you want like only younger people to see those ads, you can put like 18 to 25. There's all these little things like that. So using the money wisely and breaking it down that way, and don't just spend all the money at once. Maybe do like, if you had £50, maybe do £15 there, then do maybe another £15 and go from there and learn from your mistakes.
Some gems right there, man. Some gems right there. Because in terms of even the Instagram promotion, obviously you can narrow it down. You can narrow it down to age group. You can narrow it down to the radius of where your current location is, of how wide you want it to go. So it's not just, try not to use Instagram sponsored and just put like, let them set your audience.
Never let them set it.
Because it'll start going to some random people, and then you're going to think, well, how have I really benefited from this ad? So I definitely think you should use Instagram and narrow it down, make your own audience. The options there, narrow it down to age group, narrow it down to their interests as well. You can also change from what their interest is as well. If you're a musician, you don't want it to be sent to people who's interested in cricket, because they're just going to flick through it and it's just going to go out the window. And you know, some of us had to learn the hard way. So coming from experience, guys, early on in the game.
But you know, that's all right. Like that's another thing. Like, you know, people always think, oh, mistakes are bad, but you know, that will let you make sure that next time round you won't ever make that mistake again. And you never know, like you might click something in the system, you think, oh wow, that's the thing that I needed to do. Look how many clicks I've gone up now. I've gained so many more followers in that ad spend, and I might have even used less money. So like, you know, mistakes are hard and they're not nice, but they're things that you can take and like make sure you don't do again. So you gotta look at like each side of the coin.
Yes, man. People them are feeling the comments. People are feeling them the comments. All right, cool, man. Listen, thanks again for coming in such
No
short
problem.
notice. You know, we've been back and forth today, just getting questions and information together. So yeah, I think thanks for that again. Big up Ree as well.
That's all right. Thanks, Ree. And I can see my friend he's in there, Fusion Network UK. Any up and coming artists, follow that page. He does live nights. Two of my friends, they run that night. It's a good place to network, and Ree's the host of it actually.
Hey, that was big last time, you know. Hey, big up.
Oh, did you come?
I was there.
Oh, okay. Oh, nice. Okay, yeah, it's a good place for up and coming artists. So I definitely recommend that to everyone. And I can see Ree, I can see Ree, and I just saw Estelle. Those are my friends. Thanks for supporting me, guys. So yeah, but it was a good conversation.
No, good, so, man. Good. Definitely. Thanks for coming on.
Gave some people knowledge, so I'm
definitely.
Happy.
All right.
Cool.
Take care.
See you guys. Bye.
Yeah, man. Hey, yeah, definitely follow Fusion Network, man. That event they put on last time was big, man. In association with Sony, that was big. I was there. That was big.
I had to run, I had to try to run. I had to do all on that scale. I had to do remember living in love. Let's go. Let's go for ice in my necklace.
Hey.
Yo. What's going on?
I'm there. I'm chilling. How about you?
Yeah, I'm good, man.
First time on this thing.
What got for your connection?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but you're a bit laggy.
Better.
It might be better off Wi-Fi.
I am off Wi-Fi. Is this better?
Oh, you are? Yeah, that's better.
Is it bad? Can you see me? Can someone let me know?
Yeah, I can see you.
Cool.
Comments need to let you know as well.
Pardon?
I said people in the comments as well. Is she good?
Can you see me, guys?
Yeah, you're good. Okay.
I can't see anything. Okay, cool.
You can't see what?
I can't see no comments. If people are commenting, I can't see nothing.
Oh no, you're good, man.
Okay, cool.
Your things on the mash. But anyway, you've been watching throughout.
I have. A lot of people have been dropping gems. I've literally been here, like, just learning still.
No, it's been good, man. Obviously, timing. I just always move on black people timing, man. But you know, sometimes time goes on.
I know, but it's a good reason. Do you know what I mean? It's a good reason. Can't push knowledge in that.
Okay, someone say your audio's not the best.
Oh my gosh, why is it me? I can't see no comments.
Oh, you're done. Anyway, listen. Don't worry about the comments.
Is it better?
That's better.
You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. So we should be good.
Okay. Can you see me?
Yeah. Cool. So guys, this is my little cousin. You know, do me a favor by coming on. Let's go straight into it, man. So, management assistant at 2K Management. For those who don't know, 2K Management is who is 2K Management? What are they?
So 2K Management is a management company. So on our roster we have Lotto Boys, we've got Levi, IO, J5 who are producers, we've got YB who do events, they're presenters as well. We've got Huss, we've got Young Team Bugsy and Lotto Boys.
Hassan gonna be happy with that, you know, because you left his name like second or third to last. So
No,
I don't
come
think
on,
it's gonna.
we're all good. It's
I
good.
don't.
It's
You
all
sure? Yeah.
family. All good. It's all good.
You sure?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool, man. So obviously, as you said, 2K Management, home of J5, Little
Yeah.
Boys, Young T and Bugsy, J Hus, list goes on. Obviously, successful at the moment. So explain your role there at the moment. Explain, like, take me through maybe your day to day. What do you do on your day to day there?
Okay, so I basically assist the managers in a sense. So whether that's talking to promoters because there's a show coming up, dealing with their visas, assisting with any upcoming projects we've got coming up, just day-to-day stuff, emails, going to studios, video shoots, shows, all that kind of stuff. I really can't see. Am I like okay?
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. I'll tell you if it's moving mad. So yeah, so that's your thing in terms of like talking to promoters. What about like video shoots? Are you the liaison between like video shoots, maybe locations, or anything like that?
It's not because we're management in it, so we're more on the artist side, where Summer's more logistics, where the label handling the label, but mine's is more, I would say, more the admin side. It's just you have to attend certain things in order working with the artist, like you know as well. But yeah, it's just you just have to be in certain places at the same time. And obviously because we've got a lot of people on the roster, certain things not everyone can go to, so that'll be when someone else comes in, or they might have a meeting with important people, so then other people in the team will go and things like that.
Yeah, for real. I think Dame Boy.
Oh, I'm seeing some things coming through now.
So your phone's mad delayed, but yeah,
I got one comment coming through.
with Dame Boy there, he's asked a few things that was part of my questions anyway, and we'll see how much of involvement or cross you're with. So J Huss's clothing label, I mean, pretty much of a success since he brought it out. I've not been following much of it, but has that been across the management company in terms of the process leading up to it, him bringing it out, the promotion behind it, the photo shoots, all these things?
Well, to be honest, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't really been involved with his clothing. Like, that's him, like that's his work. Like, everything to do with his clothing is what he's been doing. Like, it's his thought process, it's him essentially. Like, that's his clothing line. Obviously people in the team who've been like around and helping where they can help, or if they needed to help, but to be honest, I haven't been involved in his clothing line. But it's lit though, so people should check that out.
It's definitely,
it's very good, so people should check that out. 100%.
And the success of the Don't Rush challenge.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. When did that song actually come out? What, a year ago? How long did that song come out?
Maybe like, I don't even know the specific dates, but it come out a little while ago. But it's been going crazy, and it's so good to see, because it's just like boys from Nottingham who've put, like, you know what I mean, they put their love and everything into a song, and it's just gone global. Like, people like Martin Lawrence, like Love and Hip Hop Car, like so many people, and it's just getting the love and recognition. Like, I don't think any of us thought it would be as big as it is, but it deserves it, man.
Because I was checking the Shazams not too long ago. I think it's on like 1.2 million.
Crazy. The numbers are crazy.
It was like number 9 in the global Shazam charts.
Crazy.
I think it hit Billboard. Don't know what number it hit, but I think it ended up charting in Billboard. Don't know if it hit number 100. That's still big nowadays. I can't even lie. But yeah, no, it's been good. So take me back through your journey though. How did you end up in that role? And the reason why I asked that is because I always want to hear different journeys with different people in different fields. So for people who maybe feel like, you know what, yeah, I could do with a management assistant role. It's a role that I would like to be in. You can obviously take us through your journey of how you got into that role and ended up being in like a obviously good big successful label. No, they're from Nottingham, man. They're not from London. You can hear it on their accent. And you watch their interviews or anything.
What did someone say?
Young T and Bugsy are from Nottingham.
Nottingham. They're from Notts. Five.
Not from London. But yeah, your journey.
So for me, I've always loved music in it. So as soon as I think when you get to the age, I think it was like 16 or something, I would always go to panel talks, always trying to like even this, like it would help, like anything that I could go to, I would. And then so I went uni, I studied music business, and then from uni I would still keep doing panel talks, so still going to panel talks. And then there was this one time I went, where was it? It was in the Brits. It was at the Brits, sorry. And then Dumi, who if people don't know, he's the founder of Disturb in London. He was talking, and then a lot of people would be like, they would asking questions about like being an artist and stuff like that. And that was never me. I've always been like shy or behind the scenes and stuff like that. So what happened? So I remember what happened? So people was asking questions, and then the seminar came to an end. So I was thinking, the one time I plucked up courage to put up my hand, I didn't get chosen in it. So I was thinking, flipping hell, this is and it's embarrassing because you're like, oh, am I invisible or whatever? So when he was leaving now, he was outside. So I basically took the opportunity. I asked him, I was like, are you, like, I'm recently graduated, but there's nothing to help get in the industry behind the scenes. Like, I didn't know where to start. I didn't know what to do because it's who you know. And then, yeah, so from then, he was so nice, which I didn't even expect it. He was just like to me, first he thought I was like Brit school age. And then I was like, no, like I've just graduated. I just don't know kind of where to begin. And he was like, what? He was like, take her email down and get in contact, and then come with us, like come with Disturbing. And then I was like, what is that? Is that easy? Just talking to someone is mad. And then literally I emailed the day after, and then met up with them the day after that. And then I started on the Friday. So then I was interning there for a bit, and then it just got longer. So I was like, I must be doing something right. And then from there, I was doing like shows. I was helping out. Anything that they would ask me to do, I would do because I was hungry in it. I just wanted to learn and be around these kind of people. So I was doing it. I was helping out at a couple of youngin shows, etc. So then, fast forward things, I don't want to like kind of stall on this, but fast forward from, I think it was Tiny's album. Tiny was releasing an album, and I helped out at the shop. And then from there, I met Rashid, and then I went on
from Link Up, yeah.
From Link Up. Sorry.
For those who don't know.
sorry. Rashid from Link Up, and then I saw Tevin, see family. So and then from there, Tevin helped as well. So from there, I was just doing the events, helping, liaising with artists, like anything they have coming up on the door, whatever it is, I'll do. Do you know what I mean? I was hungry. And then from Link Up, I was there a little while, and then from there, I came, and then I went to 2K.
You went to 2K, and that's where you are today. Now it's important, and I always ask my guests to take me back where it started, because a lot of people ask, even myself, it's not about me today, but people ask me, oh, how did you get into your role? Where did you start? All these things there. And my journey is just similar as well, where, you're going to events, networking events, seminars, just any form of place where you can gather information and network. I've said this in my last live anyway, but it's vital, because most of my guests that come all say the same sort of stuff, where you're going through, you're going around, you're meeting new people. Sometimes you got obviously build up the courage to even speak to people, And if you
It's
didn't
a
speak
lot
to,
though. It's a lot.
no,
People
it is. And obviously, if you're like a shy person as well, it's not easy. But if you didn't speak to Dummy on that day, you wouldn't have gone to Disturbing, and you may not even be at 2K right now. Do you get what I mean? And I know you're a very shy person anyway. You're kind of like to yourself and that. But
yeah, just
look where it's kind of got up. You know, you've got you now. But no, it's important, and it's good that you're able to pass that same message of your journey of going down the university route. Obviously, being at a seminar which you didn't have to be at, you obviously put yourself there on purpose. You know, speaking. You know, going to Disturbing, link, and then the journey is good, and you're obviously in a great position now. So it's important. I know you ain't been in the game years. I know, you know, but everyone's journey is different, and I know there's definitely people in here that would like to play that role of a management assistant at a management company like 2K. I mean, who wouldn't? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just to end it up, what advice, would you give for someone who wants to be in that similar role to yourself in terms of like a management assistant? What advice would you give? It doesn't have to be the same journey as yourself, but what advice would you give?
For me, I'll say network is important. It's very, 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 you'll know, a lot of it is very, very, very important. I feel like you have to be hungry. It is like with music, it's not a 9 to 6, you know that. It's not a 9 to 6, so you have to be hungry. And I would say at the same time, no one owes you anything. So you have to remember to don't wait on opportunities, just seek it. Like DM your favorite artist's manager, their team, like just speak to them. Just even if it's not even to say take you far. It'll take you far. And just network is my main thing.
Networking is key. Yes, man, we all know that. Upon this live, networking is key. You know what I'm saying? All right, Kayla, man, I'm gonna let you go, man. I've got two more guests. Yeah, I guess. You know what I'm saying? But thanks for coming on, though. Thanks for coming in. I'll catch you up, yeah? All right.
Bye.
Bye. All right, man. Two more guests, man. Two more guests. Hope you are enjoying it, you know.
So she bring her the thing regular. And I just straight love me until she want to know the whole of conversation. Keep it cool and no complication. Keep it cool and no complication,
Yeah, man, big up for the comment, y'all, man. That's Jake has gone back, by the way. Yeah, I wanna know. Big up for the comments, man. We keep it moving. Yeah, Bex, man. Jake has gone back. Yo!
Hi.
Yo. How you doing?
How you doing? Close. I feel like it's rude.
No, you're good.
Anyway. Yeah.
How you doing? You right?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Instagram's messing me around though, man. I don't even think my first part of my Instagram even got saved. So
oh no,
I'm kind of mad. So it's kind of pissed. But anyway, we move, man. Listen, you are important in this as well because I'm about to learn myself.
Okay.
I'm about to learn. Yeah. So, legal and business affairs at a major label. Yeah. Let's definitely get legal, man, because you're about to teach me some things here as well. What is that? Legal and business affairs. What is
so basically, and I think I'm sure we'll cover this at one point, but it is different to being an artist lawyer, and I think that's what a lot of people don't really fully understand. So I'm at Sony, and actually a lot of the major labels structure their legal teams differently. But in Sony, we have a central legal team, which I'm in, And then we also have label lawyers, so lawyers that sit in the labels. So there'll be a lawyer in Colombia, or there's 3 in there, and so it's a bit different. And so I mean, it's so diverse what we deal with. It could be one day you're doing a producer agreement, the next day you've got someone from marketing wanting to run a competition, and then you're like, no, sorry, you can't do that because it's 16-year-olds and it'd be gambling. You know, it's like it's just so much diverse knowledge. And yeah, and so honestly, this is why, like, it's great because it is diverse. And then also, you know, I'm trying to get people paid. I'm sure there's a lot of people on here that probably recognize me, and I am pushing for these people to get paid quick, because I know what it's like being, you know, everyone, you don't want to be chasing money, you don't want to be doing things like that. So that's kind of the business affairs side to it, that you've also got to understand that it's not just reading a contract. It is a lot of finance, it is a lot of other things that come into it.
So that's okay. So does that fall under the legal side as well? Because I know you're talking about if people want to put a competition on, it's got to come through you guys. Obviously contracts, it's got to come through you guys. Is your department the that, you know, if it needs to go through the money side? I know a business affairs manager has to sign off a lot of the finance side of it.
So yeah, so we work really closely with obviously all the other departments. I think a good way to think about it is, if you're an artist lawyer, your client is obviously your artists or your producer or whoever it is you're dealing with. My client is Sony. So you might have someone come to you who's, you know, just doing, so I do a lot of remixer contracts.
Right.
So someone will come to me, they've, you know, A&R have already done the deal, or, you know, had the negotiations, and then they come to us, and we basically, what we say is like, we paper it. So then we make the contract, and then we'll go back and forth with management and lawyers and put it through. But yeah, people will come to us with so many questions, and we're just kind of, I don't want to say backbone, but like, we're the people that, you know, we let the creatives do what they need to do, and then they come to us and we can tell them if they can do it, essentially.
So it's got to be signed off technically by people around yourself. They can come with
I mean, not me. Definitely not me, yeah.
people around, obviously, your department, where it has to go through you guys to be, or your team, should I say, to be signed off.
But I'd say actually,
yeah, go on.
And it's also one thing I would say, it's not just the legal department, because we would, like, very senior A&Rs, you know, heads of department, it's finance, because we have a finance department that actually, you know, they're putting the money through, they're really dealing with the money. We're just trying to make things in the contract come together. So that's why I would chase for money, so that I know that they're getting paid. So I would say definitely at Sony, it's more just, it is a team effort of lots of the different parts of business, because we work with A&R admin really closely. And I don't know if people know about A&R admin, because I don't know if it's everywhere, because I think it's quite a newish thing, but it's basically the administration side of A&R. So, you know, we'll work closely with them. So they might do the deals, and then, you know, we can't necessarily negotiate on certain points because they've already done, they know what they want from it. So it's all about working together. And I think that's what people don't fully understand with the label, that you're all working together on that one goal, really, to further the artists.
So how important is those roles within a major? How important is your department?
Oh my gosh. Obviously, I'm not just saying this because I want to keep my job, but it is so important. I honestly think that I do not know how it runs, because also it allows the creatives to be creative. So I do a lot of NDAs. So I'll get someone from the creative department, and they'll come to me and say, we're talking about this with so-and-so, and I have to, like, feed out the right information of what I'm going to need in that NDA, so they can protect what they're going to, you know, want to create. And I think a good example, so I work a lot with the sync department, and for people that don't know about sync, so sync is obviously, it's like putting songs in films, TVs, you know, TV program, all that stuff, computer games, you know, like PlayStation games. So someone might come to me and say, oh, can we use this track? But because they're not legal, they don't understand the things that they have to think about. So I'll say, okay, I need to know, what is it used for? Because, for instance, some artists, this is quite common actually, and I would say a lot of artists should kind of have this in the contracts. they don't want their music being used for anything political without their consent. So I actually had one where someone from the sync department said to me, oh, can we use this? And I said, oh, can you tell me what it's for? And she said, oh, it's just someone's like school project. And I was like, no, I need to know what it's for. And it was about like gun violence. And I was like, actually, we have to go to the artist to see if they want to, you know, do that. And I'm going through the contract, checking things like that. So it is diverse, and we're helping the creatives just keep things moving.
Getting them moving. Damn, man. Yo, the questions are flying in.
Oh,
I haven't
I
really
can't see
touched
them with my glasses on
my
so
question. So, do you work together during negotiations, or does legal come in after?
That's actually a really good question. So obviously I'm very junior, so I'm not really in on negotiations. I do get some matters to negotiate, which on remix agreements, but they're very minor. I mean, the odd one, I've had quite a few points, and how that would go. So we can't actually make big decisions like that. I would then go to A&R, head of, so I mainly do Ministry of Sound,
Okay.
that's one of the labels within Sony. So I do all their remixer agreements. So then I would go to the head of ministry and get their comments on. So I'm basically the mouthpiece through it all. I'm just feeding back and forth, back and forth. And there's some things I know that we can't do, and I can obviously just shut them down. But then I'll have to go and say, like, listen, they want to X, Y, Z. What do you want to do? And they'll say no. And then I have to go back and say, no, we can't make that happen.
Okay, damn. So you got past the bad news sometimes.
I'm always passing the bad news.
Always passing the bad news.
It.
So you mentioned about you're more on the remix side of it. One of my friends said, touch on the remix thing again, please. How does that work?
So what do you want to know? Like, what sort of things should be covered in a remixer contract, or how do you get a remix picked up by a label?
Yeah, I mean, if that's what you deal with at Sony, so if there was a record that was released on Sony, let's just say like a J Hus record was released on Sony, and then it needed to be remixed, but obviously with a label that you're obviously working with, if it's a Ministry of Sound one, then I think that St. John's song did that come from Ministry? That remix version?
That's the Roses one. Yeah. So
yeah.
J Hustle Black Butter, which is part of Sony. It can work lots of different ways, I think. Like, as I say, I don't want to speak on authority, because I paper the deals rather than scalp the deal, if that makes sense. But it could be that I think they could pick up, so they could hear a remix, like a kind of like, you know, one that's been made separately, and they might pick it up, and then, or some of the people that remix, I know, have really good relationships with people within the label, so they might commission them to do a remix, or there's lots of different ways, and I think that's really important, both right within the music industry and whatever you're doing. Like, find your own path and don't think it's just one way, because it really isn't. But I don't know if that answers the question. I don't know if you want to know more.
I hope it did. If it didn't, hit me back with that. What should be covered in the contract, please?
Okay, as in remix or artist, or?
Because remember, Jay, she works actually at the label, on the label side of things, rather than an independent private lawyer. But we'll get back to that. Fire the question again, Jay, if you want.
I mean, I do see our actual artist contracts and I mainly deal with producers' contracts over artists, but I do a bit. But I don't draft them, because that is very, like, that would be a director or someone very senior that would draft a big artist deal.
Okay, cool. Do you have legal experience to do a role like that?
Yeah, definitely. That's one thing I would say.
Jesus, if you didn't, it'd be in Sony, bitch.
And I watched some of the other. I watched Kayla before, and she was talking about just like networking. Honestly, the amount of stuff I have done for free, and you have to be a geek for it. Like, I am a geek for law. Like, I absolutely am. And summer holiday spent working for free, legal events going, like, because I'm actually from Brighton, but I do live in London now, although I'm back in Brighton during everything that's going on. And I used to spend all my money on train fare to go up to London to just go to an event on my own, even though I just hope that I meet someone. And so what's kind of interesting is I actually didn't really want to get into music law because I just thought, how on earth does anyone get into music law? And I practiced criminal law before I got into all this. So most of my experience was actually criminal. But I honestly, like, I have to cut most of my CV off because I was just doing so much work experience and just gaining knowledge, reading, worked really hard at uni. Just, you have to dedicate your life to this. I know it's depressing, but you have
It's depressing, but
it is depressing, but
you know, no, it's good. And there's becoming this regular kind of advice of networking, putting your all out. Like, none of us got into this role by just, you know, speaking to one person and then, I've got this role. Like, everyone's journey is different, but everyone's putting that work in, everyone's over grinding. Do you get what I mean? So that's vitally important. How can I connect my label? So music. Listen, guys, she's not an A&R. She's from the legal.
I mean, I'd love to help you all, but I just.
But she can't. You know, she wants to, but she can't. So please, guys, she's not an A&R. She works on the legal side of Sony. So please, questions.
I mean, I can give some general advice about stuff if people want.
Let's go.
I mean,
I'm sure they want to hear it. Let's go.
I'm not obviously A&R, but I just think, like, it is going back to this networking. Try and be seen at events, try and get to know people, and really try and just connect with people. Utilize social media, absolutely. You know, how do we know each other? Social media,
yeah, for real.
And really use it as a tool and use it properly. And that actually is something that I was going to go to with, like, when I was talking about general advice, but really learn how to talk to people through social media. And that's something that I think a lot of people kind of blur the boundaries. I get quite a lot of messages from people. Average week, probably about 4 people will contact me asking for advice. I'm always happy to help, absolutely, because I was once that person who knew nothing. But don't be rude. Like, I know it sounds kind of basic, but try and be polite. Like, I will get people saying, can I do work experience at Sony? I would love to give everyone work experience, but firstly, we don't do it. And also, I don't really think I could just be like, I've got another person, can they come? They just be like, no, just do your job, stop bringing in people. So and I always say that I'm really sorry, but Sony just don't do work experience, because they don't. And then I have someone like, please, I'll do anything. And I'm like, I'm really sorry, but we don't. I can offer you advice on, like, general career stuff, and then you don't hear a thing. And you're like, whoa, like, that And I don't know, I just think that you are cutting your blessings, because someone could give you a tiny bit of advice that could really help you. And also, I don't know, even to say, thank you for everything. Do you know, it's just about being polite, because we're all busy. I'd say most people want to help people, and I definitely want to help people, but we're all human as well. So if you feel a bit like, someone's just using me and I can't really give them that, but I'm offering something else and nothing, I don't know.
Yeah, that's good, man. The politeness is vital, man. The politeness is vital.
Definitely.
What about legal clearance on sampling on songs?
Yeah, so we deal with that in my department. I don't deal with that. We have someone who deals directly with that. That's, like, very serious. Like, there's no point. Obviously, you want to get stuff cleared. You don't want to have issues. You don't want to. I mean, it depends if you're a producer or the artist, because you don't want to say you're a producer. If you contract that you own, like, the beats, and you actually don't, you've sampled it, and you're just going to have so many issues. So definitely you want to try and clear stuff. Yeah.
That's important, isn't it?
Definitely. You just don't. Why risk things? I always think, like, just do things properly.
And just get them cleared. Well, I hope that answered the question. How reliable are verbal agreements?
I'd say try and get everything written down. I think one thing also, this is what I say to my friends in general about contracts, be it you lend your friend £100, whether it be your friend's featuring on your track, it could be anything. Written contracts are good because it sets out what you expect from each person. So if you're just write to someone and say, you've got it in writing, like, you will feature, obviously this is not legal advice, but I'm not going to say about features. I'm going to say about lending your friend £100. If you say to your friend in a text, in anything, you know, I will lend you £100, you will pay it back within 30 days, whatever. You are setting out what is expected from each person. So just try and paper things. Obviously, verbal agreements happen. It's just like anything. It's kind of, you could just deny it. I mean, it's obviously, you know, if you can, I don't see now what situation you couldn't write it down. Do you know what I mean? Just always just try the safest way, I think.
Safest way. Let me just answer this one. How do you make a contract legally binding? It's a good question.
That is a good question. I mean, it depends on the type of contract. It depends so many things. In the end, it depends. Yeah, it really. I can't just say, because I mean, it's like a basic contract is offer, acceptance, and consideration. So
words that I hear so often. Oh
yeah.
my god, yeah.
So that basically is that. But I mean, a contract could be binding on performance. So, for instance,
okay, in terms of royalties.
In terms of royalties, I think so. So basically, I'm assuming what you're saying is that.
And publishing rights between artist and producer.
Okay, I don't deal with publishing, so I'm Sony Records, so I definitely can't comment on publishing. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but
someone put a comment there. Split sheets is good, and you can find them online. Split sheets, get that, and that's done. Because one thing I'll quickly say is a lot of time when artists are collaborating with producers, they don't always put the splits down. So the genuine split will be 50% producer, 50% writer. But if you then go on and claim the amount that you're not entitled to, which meant 50-50, some people might go and claim 60%. But because you guys haven't agreed, you know, maybe even if it's verbal, you guys haven't even agreed on the splits, it then makes it difficult. So a split sheet, just Google, you know, a songwriter split sheet or producer split sheet, and it'll come up. Read it, and each time you go to studio, it's one piece of paper, but it then identifies what you've done on that song.
Oh, definitely, and that's like, I mean, I actually didn't know about that, but so that's interesting for me to learn. But I just think it's like what I said, just sort things out, just make things clear so you know your expectations. All you need is to produce a track that you think is going to not really do much, then it goes big, and you're like, hang on a minute, that's my work.
Exactly.
And also there's stuff with like assignment of rights. There's a lot to it being a producer, and I just think it's really, really important to clarify, because I don't know, because you never know how good a track's going to do. So why not just, you know, and then, you know, well, it's written down here on this date, you can see it.
100%. That's important, man. So definitely look up split sheets, whoever asked that.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at that as well. That's really interesting.
Yeah, no, it's important. Just when you go to a studio as an artist and you work with a producer, it's just like, cool, like normally it is 50-50, but sometimes you need that in writing.
Oh, definitely.
Because if that producer or artist, should I say, will go on to PRS, for example, and claim 70% of it, you obviously are taking more than what you're entitled to. But technically, if you have no agreement or no split sheet, then this is how a lot of artists will be getting bumped. So that's important, man. Google a split sheet. You don't have to have a split sheet from a lawyer. Google that and you'll find it. Can an email from a producer giving you rights to use a beat be taken as a contract, even if there's no wet ink signature, if it was all typed?
Well, wet ink signature is not necessarily needed for a start. Like a lot of people, you know, especially now what's going on at the moment, a lot of people using e-signature, all that stuff. So basically, it depends what you want to know. I mean, obviously I'm trying to be quite general here because I don't want to, you'd always get proper actual legal advice, but when it comes to a producer, you're going to want to know stuff like, have you got the exclusive right to the beat? Has anyone else used the beat? You know, all these things. So I don't know if the person's asking so do they want to use it? So basically, a producer's got a beat that you want to use, and is an email enough to confirm that you can use it, essentially, I'm guessing.
Yeah, a split sheet isn't an agreement, guys. I know some of you put comments about agreement. It's not an agreement, and that's not the intention.
It's just laying out what's, I'm assuming,
and who is entitled to what. So as I said with the PRX example, if you haven't got a split sheet or you haven't even agreed on who gets what splits, when it comes to claiming publishing royalties, and you haven't agreed the splits, then whoever can claim whatever. And there's only 100%. So if you both think you're entitled to 70%, then that's 140%, and then that's wrong. So split sheet isn't an agreement, but it's something that you can go by. So at least you and the producer know what's going on. If you upload a song and you go to PRS, you're both meant to claim separately. Producer and an artist meant to claim separately. You're meant to claim 50%, he's meant to claim 50%, and so forth. With the split sheet, it helps. And if someone takes more than that, then look, guys, we agreed on this. But hey, legal stuff is not my thing, so please don't DM me about that, I beg.
No, get independent legal advice.
Please do that. But I think that's it, man, because we can go on for till the end of time. Olivia, thanks. One last thing, are people able to hit you up? Obviously,
yes.
by being polite, people can obviously hit you up in terms of advice.
Yeah, so definitely. I mean, the thing is, are you really in a rush? I know someone else is coming on. I'll try and be.
No, I'm not in a rush, but there was meant to go on.
Sure.
You can get some advice, man.
Okay. I actually made a list, me being the organised lawyer that I am. But let me think of the things. Oh, okay. Right. So the few things I definitely want to say is, if you're lucky enough to, get practicing law in whatever you're doing, really find people you can use as like a mentor and you can really look up to, because a lot of the stuff I've actually learned isn't stuff I've necessarily worked on, but I have, like, the legal team in Sony is so supportive, like so good. And I have very close friends that I've made through work and who are a lot more experienced than me. And they'll be like, oh, come and look what I'm doing. You can like join in on it, or they'll send me it, or even head lawyers will CC me on deals. So I have visibility. And honestly, people try and have as much visibility as possible. If that means, going to shows and just, if you say you want to get into, sound and lighting, see what people are doing through that. And if you want to get into legal, come to talks like this, read up on stuff, look at music blogs, music law stuff, and really know what's going on. And and then whatever role you're doing, really try and just gain from it and really take from it. And it could be a bit soul destroying when you're at the bottom and you're like, oh, I'm still at the bottom, but you've honestly got so much room to learn and really take what you can. So that's one piece of advice. Another thing I think is really, really important is have integrity. And I know that seems a bit kind of, I don't know, a bit why bother saying that? But I think one thing I kind of found hard at first in the music industry is it's very, very sociable, very, very sociable. I don't drink alcohol anymore. I haven't drank alcohol in 3 years. So I turn up, I'm like, oh yeah, I don't drink. And everyone's like, oh, why don't you drink? And then you're like, oh, am I not fun? But you've just got to be yourself and have integrity. Don't feel like you've got to do what everyone else is doing. If you don't like drinking, if you love drinking, it does not matter. I think this is one industry, both legal and music, that it can be quite hard. You can feel like you get sucked in. So I think definitely have integrity and just be yourself, and just don't feel like you need to fit in. Don't feel that you've got to be the loudest, because definitely, I don't know if anyone here is actually doing their law degree right now, but that is tough because there's a lot of people that want to bring you down because it's so competitive. And honestly, all I'm going to say is ignore them. You are so good at what you're doing, whatever you're doing at law school. Don't let these people bring you down. That's one bit of advice. Another bit even, sorry. And then, let's check.
You've got a list, guys.
Sorry, okay. And then remember, this is a long game. Music industry law is a long, long game. There's other areas. If you want to quickly do your law degree and then qualify, there's other areas. Music is not it. You need to be, if you want to be a private practice lawyer, is what I'm hoping to get into, you've got to have clients, you've got to have contacts, you've got to know artists, you've got to know producers, you've got to be in the scene. And so anyone that's really wants to become an artist lawyer, build your contacts. Loads of people people's friends do stuff. Like, just build your network, and I think also build around you. Don't go for the people at the top, because they don't care. Like, rightly so, why would they care about us?
Why would they?
Build and grow with your friends. And that's what I've done a bit. Like, I see a lot of my friends now getting bigger and bigger, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I'll do your contracts when I'm going to private practice. I'm like, remember? And just,
of course.
Exactly.
Of course,
and just build with your friends, and just work hard. That's the other thing. Like, law is sacrifice upon sacrifice. Like, Christmas Day I spent on my own in my flat revising for my exams. So you have to get used to this.
No, the grind is real, man. The grind is real. Listen, Olivia, thanks for coming on. I'm sure a lot of the comments were going crazy, because people, just to end, it's a field that not a lot of people have knowledge on. Like, people don't, I won't say don't have access, but like, when it comes to legal, that's why I always try and add someone from legal, someone along, you know, that's why I lost by the music lawyer, to give an insight from a whole different perspective, rather than like, I don't want any artists on this. I can get so many artists if I want. But I don't want any of them. I want people behind the scenes that do so much. Like, there's a lot of stuff he was talking about earlier that I didn't even know that. Obviously, the business side of the label deals with legal and business. So it's even taught me as well at the same time. So all is good. Thank you for your time, man.
No,
and I'm sure everyone's learning a lot. And guys, if you want to ask Olivia anything, hit her up, man. Hit her up.
Sorry, I feel I went on.
Yeah.
But, you know,
no, it's all good. It's all good. It's all worth it. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for your time, man.
Okay. No, thank you. Yeah.
Right,
It's fine.
Yeah. All right. Yo. Instagram shoots a bump me in a sec. Been on for a minute, man. We're going strong, guys. We're going strong. Hey, cool flakes, cuz.
You know.
Hope you guys are enjoying, man. Olivia's a G, man.
Yeah, hey,
yo.
Now I wonder why you look mine. Yeah, listen, darling, I don't wanna tell lies, so I'll tell the truth. Want you to know how I feel. Hey, yo, with no regrets, want you to say what I feel.
What's going on, bro?
Yeah, good, bro. Yourself?
Yeah, man. Good. Evening, man. Evening. Sorry, man. Better than never.
That was good, man. No, I really enjoyed that, man. I like, for me, myself, I don't really hear enough about the legal side, so definitely it was really good, informative, bro.
It's always good to get, I think, the purpose of this, Instagram's going to lock off in a minute, which is good, because we didn't even start.
All right, cool.
Yeah, it's going to lock off in a sec, so when it locks off,
cool.
Let me just end it. Why am I going to wait?
Yeah.
Guys, I'm going to end it, lock back in, yeah? Zayn on my G, man. Keep busting me.
The money just keeps on coming, but I still ain't eating good. The feds keep taking away my bros.
Would it be another session of these lives? Yo, you guys don't even know the process that goes behind this, man. Whoa. One sec, yo. A lot of planning goes into this, man. I'll see you though. You don't let me know. You don't let me know. If I should do another one. You don't let me know.
I'm coming, but I still ain't eating good. The feds taking away my bros, I'm really not feeling good.
Well done to Alfred.
I think I know why you don't like, man. What I just go from receiving hood. Run man down till I crease my books. I'm a young boss trying my people's good. Bad boys in a Lambo Borough. We don't know nothing about sorry. From young, I was buying it straight. We didn't know much about Connie. We do, they copy. But the difference, we do that properly. At the top, nobody can stop me. I just giving out 10 and sloppy. She like the way that I swag. She like the sound of my voice. They say that I'm chilling.
We're here.
Cause you paying that bill, fam.
Mate, now I understand how all Nelly and Babyface and these guys feel. Like you're just trying to log in and it's just moving mad. You're like, no, it's not even me.
It's just moving mad. It's just moving mad. You know what I'm saying? Now we good, yeah, we good.
Yeah, we're good.
All right, cool, man. So sorry about the wait again, man. No time's ticking, but
cool, man.
Yeah, man. As I was saying, in terms of like, yeah, giving a different insight, man. Just even like the legal side of it, obviously, not a lot of people get to hear from people who are in the field.
Not at all.
You know, and can throw a few gems as well. That can teach you a different side of it. Like, I don't want to have artists in here. You're gonna hear artists talk all the time. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's all good, man. So yes, bro, Alfred. So, co-founder of the Pit London. Before we even get into all the other stuff, let's talk about the Pit firstly, man.
Yeah.
What's that about?
So we've gone back and forth with what we brand it as mainly, but with us as an urban lifestyle brand that specializes in events and radio. We've been doing events for about 5 years now. We've been on radio for about 4 years now. We were on Radar before, and then now we're on Represent. We're actually on now. So yeah, we're actually on Represent now. That's finishing soon. And we do. We've been doing online events during this quarantine. We do different types of events. We do like showcases. We do like raves. A few different things really.
And this just had the playlist party that we was locked into before. I know my guy Kieran is a part of that as well, man. Big. Before I even met Kieran, I was aware of the Pit London as well, man. So big up.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Yeah, big up, man. Got to support, man. So, swaying from that, obviously, that's why we're here. You're obviously radio promotions manager for all of, take it away, man. Talk to me about that. Because that's another thing that I know, that's when we start speaking to Kieran, we were speaking about obviously getting you on, because that's another thing artists all want to hear about as well. How to get on radio. Is it really tough as people say? Is it easy? Is it expensive? Is it free? Where we at? let's take it away, man. Let me hear it, man.
Yeah, well, so I do radio. My official role is tastemaker and community radio promotions manager. I also do some national campaigns, but mainly specialize in the community radio side of things. So, your national radio is your KISS, Radio 1, Capital. Community radio is more like your Rinse, Represent. Up in Birmingham, you got New Style and stuff like that. You got some online platforms as well with it. Foundation FM, obviously you got Bellamy, and previously people would know about Radar as well. And part of my job as well before was to send music out to club DJs. Well, at the moment, people aren't in clubs, but we're still sending music out to DJs for their online sets.
People not in clubs, but still got to go on. No doubt, man. Yeah, go on.
So I would think, so a lot of people do ask, like, do I need a plugger? When do I need a plugger and stuff like that? But every artist is different. It really depends what the goals and the aims are for your campaign. Surprising to a lot of people, I'd say at the early stages, do a lot of it yourself, because, you could probably use that money, because I know how hard it is to be an up and coming artist. So, you got to think about where you allocate your budget. So I wouldn't say definitely look to get a plugger, but if you feel like, you've got a song that this is the song that you've been investing in, you've got like, this is the song that's really going to help take you there, then there's benefits to get a plugger. My day-to-day role will be speaking to presenters and producers at different radio stations, helping different artists, management companies and labels create like a plan for their artists. So sometimes it might just be for one song. So you'd create a plan to, if the plan is, you know, for the artist to do loads of radio tours, so book a load of different interviews, or a lot of it is about pushing the tracks to get on radio and on playlist as well. So you make them make a plan from like maybe their track 1, track 2 of the EP, or for even like the whole year, from like month 1, month 2, month 3, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so our role really ranges to, you know, helping artists and managers and labels create like plans for their artists in the radio sense. And then it also works with like building up good relationships with the radio stations, the radio DJs and producers, that they know we're sending them bangers. So we can't be choosing bad songs, you know. Luckily, I've been this is work with a free. All of it is a freelance company, so we can choose the ones that we want, as well as getting stuff from the labels that, and we choose from there if we want to take it on or not.
So, which leads me on to one of the questions I was going to say. How do you guys filter through all of your submissions? Because I'm sure you guys get submissions all the time. Like, bro, you know. So how do you filter through all of the stuff? Because technically you guys are obviously acting as A&Rs yourself, because you guys obviously have to think, right, is this even good enough for us to obviously the radio station? So you guys obviously act as A&Rs yourself. So how do you guys filter through all of the stuff that you get sent, where you feel like, okay, maybe this is the record, maybe this isn't the record, you know? How, you know what I'm saying? How do you break that down?
Well, as I said before, when I was saying about, you know, you got to think about when is the right time to get a radio plugger, but it's also about the right time to take your song to radio as well. So a lot of times when we're getting music sent, it may come from either an A&R or manager, and they'll give us a list of certain maybe accolades that it shows that the artist is ready to take that step into radio, you know, because a lot of times you only got one chance to make a first impression. So if you want to, depends what song you're taking to radio as well. So a lot of times we'll look at all the stats. You know, this artist is building up here. They've got this amount of Spotify streams. You know, the songs, but let's say for argument's sake, is banging off. The Gram Daily video is doing well. You know what I mean? Like, he's already started to get some organic support at radio. We want to take it there. So I trust in who's been sending it to me, the way that's been presented with the sort of stats that's available. And, you know, sometimes, you know, sometimes I do just listen to everything, and songs need to just grab us sometimes. So I might even, you know, listen through the songs and stuff like that. At some points that might pick me up, or, you know, or just listen through. But it depends who it's coming from, how it's presented in the email as well, or even if it's just a message, how they're presenting it. Like, this is my artist, and, you know, this song's doing this, or this song I think is a great song for these reasons. So, you know, you gotta it depends. If you're selling a song to someone, you gotta make sure you sell it yourself. If you believe in it, you believe that it's next for radio, you gotta make sure you sell it to the 100%. Person that you want to work on your team, because it's not always just about the money.
100%. And you made a good point there with it's how you sell it as well, rather than them emailing you like, bro, you know, I'm gonna send you this song, check out this song, it's gonna blow us, you know, and you check the stats and it's not really doing much. And then you know, let's be honest, as A&Rs in the same position, we get these things all the time as well. So it's a thing where it's important to back up with what you're how you're pitching, but it's also important to back up with data as well. Not saying that every song needs to have so many streams, so many views, and all of those things there, but you need to be realistic, because a lot of people, even when it comes to the A&R side, are you even ready for a label? Are you even ready musically? Are you even ready? Or do you just like the fact that, I want to be signed? But musically, are you even ready for that? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not my reply, by the way, guys. So I'm not going to reply like that. But you need to ask yourself that, are you even ready for all of that? Do you get what I mean? And the same with radio, where I wouldn't say, are you ready for radio? But do you feel like your song is worthy of radio at the moment? You know, which is important as well. But as I said, it's also about how you sell it, how it gets pitched, you know, what data can back it up, because these things ain't cheap. And I know people are going to ask the question later on.
Exactly.
But please, while we're here, please touch on that subject. Is going through a radio plugger cheap? Is it affordable? You know, talk us through that, because I know the question is going to come later. So I might as well.
And for me, I see it as, if you're an early artist, that's what I said, try and make as many connections as you can, because one, they're going to be valuable because you know the person, and two, you're just saving yourself money where money could be better spent other places, to be honest. What we would, charge for a fee to a major label would be different to what we charge to an artist or manager, just understanding that budgets are a bit different. But yeah, that's why we make sure we tell people, is your song ready to go to radio? Because, one or two plays on radio is cool. You can do that yourself. There's no point of me coming on board to bring on 2 or 3 songs. My aim is to really take you to that next level of plays, getting playlisted on One Extra, you're doing like One Extra Live and all that sort of stuff. Like, it's a whole new level that you're taking your repertoire tools. But definitely, cause certain prices can be like, you could be looking at $3,500 for a song to a label, but obviously not to like an artist manager. But that's just the level. But when you hear $3,500 for a song, you're thinking, oh, that's a lot of money. But what is going on? Like, say with like, let's say I had, so an artist that we have is like AJ Tracey. Now AJ Tracey he's not just an artist that just goes on radio and then that's it. There's things like, as you said, One Extra Live. There's gonna be all these other things like going back and forth with producers, gonna be speaking to them for about 2 or 3 months about one song. So it's that time that I spent on it for that fee. So you're understanding that what that fee builds up to, because there's a lot of work going back and forth, pushing up at One Extra, going to Radio 1, getting the songs out to community radio, organizing interviews, being there at the interviews as well. But, So you got
it's not just, all right, you're paying $3,500, you step into One Extra tomorrow, you pitch the song. There's campaigns that come with it, and it's done well in advance. So obviously prices are obviously different more than independent artists, but you can use your head and use that 3.5K for labels as a guidance of how much it cost. But it's more than just taking your money and stepping into One Extra tomorrow and stuff. And that's it. But like someone else made a point there earlier in terms of, do you even have the repertoire to meet label demands? Because if you decide, okay, you're gonna get a bit off subject for a second, but you approach a label, can you show me 30 finished songs right now?
Exactly.
Don't come with one song and then one of them, this ain't been mixed, I'm waiting for someone to jump on it, but check it out. So please, guys, if you're an artist, you have to come ready. Do your work. I'm saying it's more than that, don't be fooled, but you can't just step in to a label or approach an A&R with 1 or 2 songs and one of the songs are half done. Have your stuff ready. Like, anyway, back to that.
No, trust me, that's a good point, because people be surprised how many some big artists, like, they get a song and the next thing you know is doing 200K on Gram Daily. Great, everyone's hitting you up now. Oh yeah, what's the next song's coming up? And you haven't got one new finished song next coming up. Everyone's just gonna go now. That's it. Your opportunity's done.
That's it. And then the famous line is, I never knew it was gonna do well. I never knew it was gonna do well. Like, some you can't predict it, but you need to be prepared for all of these things. And so many artists fall off because they have that one song, it does so well, they haven't got anything to back it up with. They start panicking. They start thinking, damn, I need another song soon. They start forcing the records and it don't work, and then it goes left.
It's about knowing what the artist's sound is, because that's why we like to take on artists on a long term. Like, we don't mind doing it at like a crazy low price at the beginning, just because if we listen to the music, we're like, okay, this is what you're coming with, and then this is who you're working with. Cool, let's get cracking. Do you know what I mean? Like,
So my next thing is how without shooting yourself in the foot, how valuable do you feel like radio is these days? In terms of like consumption, do you feel like radio still plays a big part for artists? Do you feel like it just helps a little bit, or what do you think radio? What position do they play nowadays? Do you reckon?
I feel like
compared to maybe 5-10 years ago.
Streaming has definitely changed a lot. Streaming has made it be like, streaming a lot of times is a symbiotic relationship, but sometimes comes first. You got to look at a song like Home Pussy by D Block Europe. that's not a radio song. You know what I mean? Does so well everywhere else, it has to become a radio song. Do you know what I mean? So it's like radio's become a lot more reactive, but it's still an integral part in like kicking off a campaign. As you said, when you're coming to me with accolades and you can be like, the song's already been supported by DJ Target. It's like, oh, okay, like, you know, we're on the right path here. But yeah, I feel like you look at during quarantine, streaming's gone down and radio consumption's gone up.
Of course.
It's like up by 50%. No one saw that coming. Do you know what I mean? So you know, we're seeing like a big rise as well, like a lot of opportunities coming. And there's a lot of good moments that come with things like interviews. Some of the, you know, we had the recent H controversy that from the interview we had with Rob Bruce. So there's a lot of things that you can still show a different side to you and still build up yourself. Your, you know, what we had Octavian, he had won the BBC Sound Off poll. Just having that badge on you, you know what I mean? It really does help add that credibility to you as an artist.
So what, before I open up questions, what advice do you feel like an artist who is maybe not even achieving those numbers that we're just kind of talking about, or that sort of level, what advice do you reckon you can give to artists who are obviously trying to get there? What advice do you reckon you can give before that? Before they're able to kind of approach you, because these things are expensive, innit? And if you're still trying to get yourself out there, you know, money's not the, you know, floating around like that. Of
course.
To pay around them sort of things for one song, and there's no guarantee that if it goes on radio, tomorrow. So what would you advise for people who are more just up and coming in that stage?
Do a lot of it yourself, you know, like Instagram is free. You can go on a DJ's profile that you know that plays the sort of music that you like, and then press the contact info. Like, do you know what I mean? You can build up your own database, you know, networking. Obviously you can't do it as much right now, but you know, there's a lot of things like this. People in the chat, you can network, you can jump on Zooms, networking stuff. Like, you got to understand a lot of it is going to be your own hard graft, but then you've got to understand in the long term, you know, me going around with an artist and they already have that relationship is nothing for me to send that song over. You know, I'm really just helping you out in a situation your friend is going to help you out in anyway. Do you know what I mean? So you really got to understand a lot of it is about building your own, a lot of it yourself. Because a lot of the times I'm only here to just help the next stage or just help be an aggregator in that department because things are so busy for you now. Do you know what I mean? But so you want to have, if you can have that core relationship yourself, you know, look at the producers at different stations. You can go on LinkedIn and stuff like that. You know, just dive in really if you believe in your music. But I understand how long it can be, and so hopefully you can find a manager that will help you through that.
That can assist you through that, because then you made a good point, or maybe even starting at lower radio stations, or maybe not national radio stations. The Radars, the Represents, the I think Beat 103. All of those, Foundation, Croydon FM, the list goes on. I'm
100%.
From previous knowledge, but maybe starting off there. And a lot of them have emails. A lot of them have emails. A lot of them are approachable because they're not massive DJs either. So a lot of them are approachable as well. So maybe even just starting to get your song circulating around those sort of stations, the Rinses, the Radars, the Represents, and all of them stations, because they're still pulling listeners.
Exactly, so, as I said, one of my main roles is community radio manager, and a lot of that is where we start a lot of our early artists, getting them to do like early interviews, so at least they start to get warmed up to just being like media savvy, just getting across to their fans a bit more of a different side, you know. So even if in the first song we do like 2 interviews from that first song, that still be good, because at least now your journey starting at 1 interview at Rinse FM, 1 interview at Represent, sort of thing. Just build your name from there, really.
Yeah, I think that is good advice to definitely start on those sort of stations, especially if you're on, I say, that sort of level. Start to get your song circulating across those that can obviously still bring you attention at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, man. Someone asked a question. I'll open up the questions now. How do we manage to get an interview?
So as in you're an artist, okay? So if you're an artist and you want to get an interview, you're an artist manager, just hit up DJs or presenters that play your type of music. Don't just be hitting up everyone at the radio station. You know, don't be hitting the drum and bass guy, but you got a data stashment song out. Like, but you know,
no, that's vital. We're gonna touch on that. Your genre of music, it's important to do your research and obviously make sure you reach out to the right
Yeah.
DJs as well, or producers or whatnot, because as you said, you don't want to be a rapper doing black urban music and you're hitting up a rock DJ or
Yeah,
something rock.
exactly.
It's just going to get ignored. So it is about obviously doing your research and, you know, sticking to your genre in it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I've been blessed enough to I've gotten played on BBC One Extra by Nadia J. Apart from obviously keeping the quality music 10 out of 10, what else should I be doing?
You know, like how often are you saying thank you to her, checking in with her, seeing if she thinks about maybe some music that you got coming up, you know, build that relationship. If she presses with your music and you think, you know, your music's 10 out of 10, that you got to create champions. That's a lot of things that we do. Like, you know, you want to create someone that's like supporting you every time you come with that new song, because other DJs watch other DJs. Yeah.
They pre what other people are doing, innit?
Yeah. Maybe you know, look at other platforms that you can sort of get your music out onto as well, and yeah, hit up some other DJs. That's a thing. I'm just gonna keep saying it. Like, it's one of the most easiest things to do, and you're literally helping yourself in the long run. Yeah, I know it seems daunting at first to just DM a DJ or whatever. But yeah, you know, you can hit them up outside of just the music. Just be like, hey, I like your show. You know what I mean? Start a relationship like that. There's other angles in, rather than just sending here's my song link. Hope you like it, and then that's it. You know.
100%. And in terms of that as well, we can go back to the playlist party, which you guys do, which I think is great as well, by the way, in terms of even being able to send your songs in, them getting reviewed by DJs from them said station that we was talking about. But it's good because if like the playlist party, there were some jams on there. I mean, I was busy obviously doing what I was doing, getting ready for my life, but there was some rhythms in there, and you never know. Like, I can hear it, and I'm in a position of power. You never know who else could be listening, and those sort of things as well. So I think those things are valuable as well. If you see something similar to the playlist party, if you don't know what it is, go check it out. I'm sure Kieran or someone here can put it down below if you're still in here. But check it out, and it's you even talk about it, explain what gets done in the playlist party as well. That's important.
Yeah, so this is an event that we're now doing every Sunday, 6 to 8 p.m. So we have a half an hour Q&A with someone in the industry, similar to what we're doing here. And then for an hour and 30 minutes, we listen to music submissions and then give feedback on it. So different people on the panel, there's about 4 or 5 people on the panel, different people in the music industry. And yeah, we will just give our feedback. And then sometimes if the artist is in the chat, then we can tap them in, like unlock their video and audio, and then we can just have a chat with the artist. So, you know, if you're an up-and-coming artist, definitely come lock in next week. Or just an artist, everyone's welcome. If you want to come and just chill, music professional, just come lock in. And you can submit your music to be heard. And then we've got on the panel next Sunday, Frankie. She's co-founder of Foundation FM, and she was a radio producer at Capital Extra and Radar Radio. So yeah, she's gonna be giving advice about radio herself. So
there you go. So look in, because I think I need a break next week, guys. Look into that, so I can be a spectator next week. It'd be good. But yeah, check it out. Someone's put Playlist Party UK there, so check it out. But if you're an artist that you want to get your stuff, you know, heard by DJs, be reviewed, advice, all that, and you just never know who's listening in. That's one of the most important things as well. You just never know who will be listening in. That could the music and give you some maybe we take it to the next step. You never know, man. All right, cool. Yeah, man. Dark Steppers plugging the thing, submission. Yo, yeah, man. Plug up the thing. But yeah, bro, man. Someone asked a question earlier. This is gonna be the last one because I'm tired, man. What advice can we give to up and coming artists?
Work hard. Like, this is not a game where you can sort of just depend on your creativity anymore, and then someone will sweep in and just sort of help out. Like, we had Ewan on today, and he was like, they don't take artists on at Relentless Records unless they're media savvy. You know, you don't have to have the most amount of numbers, but you just got to actually, you know, play the media game, get on social media. I don't think that world exists anymore where you can't be on social media. You can just be a cool artist, and I don't do Instagram. Those days are over. Like, you know what I mean? So you just got to get media savvy with it once you've got your product. I think it's a good thing to, you know, as we said earlier, make as much music as you can. But once you've made the music, then start to be like, right, I've got my product here. Like, is a can of Coca-Cola. What am I going to do now? How am I going to get it out to the world? How am I going to sell it? How am I going to trap it? Whichever way you want to say it.
Mm-hmm. No, for real, man. For real, you've answered it. I don't really need to add my bit on that, man. You've answered. Yeah, man. Man said that burns. By the way, I hate media. Now, you know what? Yes. On top of that, even if you can't, someone within your team needs to be able to handle social media.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
touching on that subject about being social media savvy, if that's not your field, you know, you're not really familiar with it, get someone within your team to handle your social media.
Definitely.
Don't be fooled. There's a lot of these pop acts that don't handle their social media.
100%.
So don't be fooled by that. You don't have to be able, you don't have to control social media, but social media plays a big part. Let's be honest, because in this time during quarantine, if you wasn't a part of social media, you'd be finished. Yeah, you'd be finished. You'd be finished. So yeah, all right, cool. Last one, man. Last question. Would you encourage multi-genre artists, or is it better to stick to one genre?
I think we live in that age where it's a bit more multi-genre now. People are open to different types of music and sounds. It does benefit you if you are just like one of the other genres, where you can just sort of, if you are just a hip hop artist, are more of an R&B artist, because you have a direct lane. But no, because you're in that lane, there's a lot of people make music these days at a higher rate than ever, because everyone just can. So if you add in that uniqueness, just puts you in your own different lane. So I'll definitely advise to just be as different as possible, really, be as unique as possible, because then no one can replicate that. It's only you.
Yeah, no doubt, man. All right, guys, man, I'm done.
All the people that you've had on, like, is very important.
Yeah, man. Well, you know, I'm trying to give it. Remember, I was once in people's position. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't always in the position I'm in now. So for me, it's like, okay, now I'm in a position to give back. Why not in it? Why not use all my peers, all the people that I know, who I speak to on a regular basis? Why not, you know, I asked them, you up for it? And yo, like, you know, a couple of guys getting someone today, but that's for personal reasons. But it's just good, in it. Like, we was all in that position once upon a time. Like,
exactly, none of us definitely
woke up and was in that. We all had to go through our own journey to get where we are today. So of course, it's only right that we have to try and give back, especially during quarantine. Y'all ain't doing nothing. You get what I'm saying? Like, it would have been a lot harder if we wasn't in quarantine, because a lot of people would be more busier. But yo, during this time, it just makes sense to obviously take advantage of it. Do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, big up for coming on, bro.
Thanks, man. We've got to get you onto our radio show for Industry Breakdown.
Anytime, man. Anytime. I've waited more time, but I'm open to it now. It'll be silly
cool.
for me to wait. Before, I used to be like, nah, I'm not on it. Do you know what I mean? But I'm gonna, man. Hit me up though, man. I'm down. Man.
I will do, bro. Thanks for having me.
All right, man. Big up, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, man, guys. We come to an end, man. Come to an end. What y'all think, man? What y'all think? But listen, let me tell you, music. You guys had head of label services at Ditto UK, who has dropped some absolute gems. Yeah, gems earlier, man. The guy even said, yo, you can hit him up, DM him, all of these things there. Like, come on, man. Then you had the A&R manager from Reservoir, who signed platinum selling songwriters. He's even saying you can hit him up. Damn, man. Damn, you had Ewan, the big boss. Been in the game bloody longer than probably been born. Dropping some serious gems. You know what? I'm not gonna lie, man. Sadly though, man, Instagram's been bumping me, man, with the lives. I don't know how much of them have been saved, man. And if they wanted to know if you want to know their ats, go back to my original post. I've added everybody, their roles, you know, all that stuff there. So hit them up. Part 3, I don't know, man. Part 3, I don't know, guys. I don't know. I think I need a break for a week. But we'll see, man. We'll see. Because 2 of my guests that didn't turn up this week may come next week. So it depends on if I can get some more guests who are down. I'll do it for y'all. But it's tiring still, I'm not gonna lie, it's tiring. But we'll see, man. We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, you lot, man, go to your bed, man. Bless up.